You know what this is? You know why we're here? This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles live, worldwide. I've been around the world. Sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, The Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, Your Core Hardcore fan page. What is going on? And New York Hardcore Comics. What's happening? Who's ready to talk about Wonder Woman today? Good Lord, this should be interesting. Looking forward to a fun show today. Let's see what's going on. It is Beanie Day. Skinhead, it is Skinhead Day. What's up? Oi, 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 oi. Yeah. So listen, if I look good, you look good, right? So what's happening? Evening from Scotland. Looking forward. Hey, Olivia, hope you're well. What's up? Drew sings great hair metal. Thank you. What's good? What's good? Yeah. Let's do this for sure. Yeah, okay. What's happening in Norway? This just in. Hey, May. Hey, Larry Kelly, what's up? Yeah. Going to be a great show. What's up from Western Mass? What's up in Western Mass? Hey, listen, Johanna. Johanna, don't send me messages on Facebook. I am 5 minutes before the show, okay? That goes for anybody out there. Why is it that 5 minutes before the show, everybody's like, yo, what's going on? Or, hey, come on. I got a show to do. What are you people paying for? Hey, Vinny, how are you, buddy? All right. Oh, wow, the gang's all here. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles. I want to let you in on a couple of things. I want to let you in on this. This is what's happened. Let you in. Clear the deck. Hey, Astoria Lou, my man. What's up, buddy? What's happening in Milton Keynes? All right. Wow. Hey, Dave Gregory. What's up, brother? Hi from Dave and Gabby in Northeast England. Hi, Gabby. I hope Dave's behaving himself. What's up in Buffalo? Trucking up to Buffalo. All right, we're all here for JJ. Okay. That said, I want to remind everybody what's coming up on the show. Here we go. This is what's up on the show. Wednesday, this Wednesday coming up this Wednesday is Randy Bly. I've learned to pronounce his name properly. It's Randy Bly. It's not Randy Blythe. Randy Bly is coming up this Wednesday. Then a week from today is Saab Gray from Iron Cross, old school DC hardcore. Got a lot to talk about. Then Wednesday the 6th, January 6th, Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage. And then Brooklyn's own January 10th, Sunday, Mr. Joe Affey. So lots of cool stuff coming up on the show. That said, I'm wondering, you're wondering, hey, what's up, Pugsy? How are you, bro? Holding it down? Hey, Lou Edge. Greetings from Germany. All right, Lou Edge, my man. Good. Yo, Brian Ramsey, my man. What's up, Brian? Yo, one of my great Patreon supporters, Brian Ramsey. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much, man. That said, what's up with the hardcore shutter? What is that? Excuse me. Is that the goat candle?
The goat candle is lit.
Dude. That's hard, bro. The goat candle is hard, bro.
When I light this candle, all the goats just make a beeline from the backyard.
Hey, okay, here's lesson number one with one of these. You see, the way you have it all wired up like this, all it does is rub against you and create noise. See?
I was busy with the candle.
Help me help you.
Blame it on the goats.
I know you're a big goat fan, bro.
I am. I can't help it.
And I like goats, man. Goats. I like goats. Goats are cool.
You know,
All right. Go ahead.
In Norse mythology, a goat is what brings the presents.
Is that right?
That's true.
You know, they brought the goats over here to my neighborhood, to the park here, because they munch on all the stuff. They've been putting them in city parks in New York, and they put a couple of goats here in Riverside Park in Manhattan, and they munched through the stuff in like a matter of days. They were supposed to be here for a month, and like within like 5 days, they munched through everything.
They're overachievers, and they make you think of Venom. You know, that cover of the black metal album. You know.
There you go. Go. All right. So hey, let me clear the deck here. Let's do photo of the day.
Yes.
Please, everyone. Wrong answers only. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, this is the Hardcore Shutterbug Stephen J. Messina photo of the day. Hi. There you go. Here we go. Wrong answers only. Let's see what we got here. Come on. Got a big crowd today. Let's have some laughs. What do we got? Fuck is my phone?
Uh-oh. The goats took it.
Where'd that go? That's odd. All right. Might need that.
Uh-oh.
I'll find it. All right, here we go. Is it CC DeVille? Is it Striper?
Oh,
Ex-member of Metallica. That could be. Is it Striper? Is it Beavis? Oh, all right. Sal, you win with this one, bro. Is it the guy from Mask?
Rocky Dennis?
Wow. Is it
Wow,
Lita
that's just
Ford?
mean.
Is it Journey? Is it Paul Anka? Is it Goat Core?
I love. Oh, well, it's Goat War.
Is it Carrot Top? Is it Tracy Chapman? Is it Drew Stone's Rock Years?
Drew is secretly a ginger.
Yes. Is it Nikki Sixx? Is it So Psyched Up for This Show, Cro-Mags, Blood Clot, Mad Respect, JJ Tom from Avenel, Cycle Sluts from Hell?
Cycle Sluts.
Cycle
Wow.
Sluts, bringing it back. Is it Mega?
A beer.
Yeah. Is it That's when the scorpions crawl. I saw the Cycle Sluts from Hell play many times.
I remember them at the Scrap Bar.
Is it Phil and Salmo? Is it Flan Mafia? Is it Ben Roethlisberger?
I knew Flan would creep in.
Is it the real me? Can you see the real me? Can ya? You ever hear Wasp do the real me?
I was just thinking of that.
Wasp did the real me. Yeah, that was pretty
They
good.
actually did a pretty decent
Oh, wow.
version
Look,
of
here
it.
we go. Blackie Law. Here we go with the Wasp thing here. Blackie Lawless's microphone. Is it Right Said Fred? Is it Boz Scaggs? I like Gene. I like where you're going with this. Boz Scaggs. Nice.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Okay, time for some right answers. Here we go. How about some right ones? Is it Mr. Brownstone? Close. Is it Vladimir Putin? Is it Willie Nelson? All right, here we go. Is it Dave Mustaine?
Hello, me. This is me again.
Dun. Oh, boy. That was funny. All right. Is it Big Four alumni? Yes. Is it
Yes,
Mega
yes.
Dave? Is it Mega Dave? Okay. Is it Dave from Megadeth? Yes, Adam Sachs, I believe it is.
I give some real credit if someone could tell me who the other guitar player was who only was with them for one album and one tour.
Ooh.
But he's a pretty prominent guy actually in the Long Island area.
Yeah, I don't know much about their.
Well,
they've had a lot of shredders come through that band, you know.
Yeah. Well, all right. So here it is.
All right, go ahead.
This is Megadeth at Irving Plaza, October 2001. This is about 4 weeks after 9/11, and this was that other guitar player you see there is named Al Petrelli, and Al has been in a number of bands over the years, like Sabotage. He is the guy that actually he's one of the creators of the band that became Trans-Siberian Orchestra. which you hear every year at this time. They do like a metal Christmas thing, but really, really good guitar player. He was only with them for this one album, which was a really solid record, and this was then unfortunately him and Dave got into it, and I think he punched Dave in the face and was out of the band after that. But
well, that'll do it.
Well, yeah, from what I recall, Dave had been on the wagon, and he told Al he wasn't allowed to drink on stage and he had to be clean shaven. And Al found out that he'd been off the wagon for quite some time and confronted him and slugged him in the head, and he was out of the band. But at the end of the day, they made a good record. And this was probably the best Megadeth show I'd ever seen, because I like Megadeth. I'm not a giant fan. I always felt like Dave Mustaine was like the best and worst part of the band. Like, I think he's a great guitarist, but I wish they would have had a singer. But that's just my opinion, but this was cool. And they, they're really good live. I mean, they're so precision. They're such a tight band, but they're not, I'll take Metallica over Megadeth every day.
It was never really in my wheelhouse. There's another photo as well.
Oh, that's a fun one. Yeah, that's a nice full stage shot.
How about that?
There you go. Yeah, for them to play Irving, too, that's a small room for them, too.
Well, you know what? This is going to come up again with our guest, because our guest, toured with these guys, So.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, they the thing
Where
with
the hell? Talk for a second.
Drew can't find his phone. So anyway, I hope everybody had a really good holiday. And I want to take a minute to wish our friend Chucky Brown a happy birthday. And because I believe today is his birthday. He's our resident historian, always the keeper of the excellent question. And just having a great time,
Holy shit. You know where my phone was?
Uh-oh.
It was out on the ledge of my window outside.
Outside?
Yeah, man.
Your phone's trying to take its own life.
Yo, sometimes when the reception's bad and a picture doesn't go through, I put it out on the ledge, and I forgot I put it out there, and I was like, where's the phone?
Oh, Jesus. That's
Good
funny.
Lord. All right, where's our guest, man? I better text him, huh?
I just wished Chucky a happy birthday while you were gone.
Yeah, man.
It's his birthday today, so.
Okay.
But, yeah, hope everyone had a good holiday, had a good Christmas, get some cool gifts.
Where is this guy?
Not too bad.
All right, cool. That said, all right. Chucky says thank you so much.
Chucky's the man.
Yeah, man.
I was just looking at abject pictures before the show when they played with Stigma at his record release party back in the day.
Okay, cool. All right, listen, man, we'll talk to you in a bit.
Yeah, hold it.
Oh, go ahead. All right. Does it smell like goat? What's up?
Fresh goat.
All right, I'll talk to you in a bit.
Later.
All right. Oops, my bad.
I got a peek.
I'm all discombobulated after losing my phone. I have to have everything in the right place before, and then once one thing's out of place, it like throws me into a tizzy. Anyway, it's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. We are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Tapes, and Your Core Hardcore fan page. Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards is located in Lakewood, Colorado. It's the Rocky Mountain headquarters for all things punk, hardcore, and metal. Established in 2014, they have the largest selection of records, CDs, shirts, stickers, patches, and accessories between Chicago and LA. From the pit to the ditch, they've got your back. Get in touch with them at www.chainreactionrecords.com. Also, the Texas Silver Rush is a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rollet, Ringo Starr, and, of course, Agnostic Front. During this current pandemic, all information and online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram page, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. That said, everybody ready? Hold on, it's time. You know what? Let me just announce this one too before we go. Wednesday, before we bring our guest on, Wednesday, July 13th, we got a New York hardcore OG coming on. We got Kevin Crowley from The Abused, who also created the New York hardcore symbol, logo, whatever you want to call it. So Kevin Crowley coming on Wednesday, January 13th. Make sure you don't miss that. All right, here we go. Let's clear the deck here. Let's bring our guest on. All right. Today's guest is a musician, author, and Ironman triathlete, born and raised in New York City. He is the author of numerous books, including Evolution of a Cro-Magnon, Meat is for Pussies, and The PMA Effect. As a musician, he is best known for his work with Both Worlds, MOI, and having sang on one of the most iconic New York hardcore albums of all time, Age of Coral, The Cro-Mags. His current music project is Blood Clot. Please welcome, coming at us from the Lower East Side of Manhattan, Mr. John Joseph McGowan. What's up, bro?
Yo!
How are you, buddy?
What's happening? I'm good, Drew. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, brother.
So tell us, what's the latest? Like when the pandemic hit, when the zombie apocalypse hit, you know, how did that change your plans, your life? Did you have to cancel shows? What's happening?
Well, you know, I just posted on Twitter. A lot of people said, fuck 2020 and all this. And you know what? 2020, in my eyes, it was the great bullshit detector, because anybody that was half-stepping and not really applying themselves to what they were doing were going to fall victim to quitting and throwing up their hands and all of that bullshit. And basically what I said, if you didn't get your shit done during this, you didn't have a lack of time, you had a lack of discipline. And, you know, what I managed to do was finish 2 books. I started recording another album. I trained for an Ironman. I finished the Ironman during the pandemic in Mexico. Went out and fed the homeless, you know. So basically, you know, anybody could act like whatever, but when the pressure's on, that's, you know, like the Marines say, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. That's, you know, we're going to have pressure in life. And if we just cave into every little thing, we're never going to get anywhere, because those pressures are there to teach us lessons and make us strive to improve ourselves.
Absolutely. You know, it's been a interesting time for me as well. Once this thing started, I launched this show. You know, I've got a book. You know, I really, in a certain way, I hate to say it, in a certain regard, for me, the way my life is set up, it's been a great run. I mean, because it's given me the opportunity to commit myself to a lot of these other things that under normal circumstances, look, if this thing didn't happen, we wouldn't be doing the show right now. Now,
gotta love that.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit. Let's go back.
Let me just say one other point, and that is this. What this also did, as many know, I've been in this health shit for a long time with the eating right, the exercise. And this forced a lot of people to really be like, hey, man, I need to get my health and my immune system together. And I need to do better in life. I got thousands of messages on my Instagram and everywhere. People hit me up, emailing me, whatever, saying, hey, man, you know, this was really an eye-opening experience, this whole thing. And you know, I really want to make that change. And I pointed them in the direction of the people that can help them do that, you know. So in that sense, a lot of people also realized the people who were the most affected by this whole COVID thing were people 70 above and people with pre-existing conditions. So if we can remove the pre-existing conditions, then to give ourselves a better chance in life against all disease, then we should try to do that.
Absolutely. You know, and one of the things that I've been doing a lot, as a lot of the viewers know, is I go back and forth and I spend a lot of time with my dad, who's going to be 88. And, I take care of him when I'm down there and spend a lot of quality time with him, and I have to be, he has to be real careful, at that age, about who he's in contact with. So it could be a little stressful, but I've been going back and forth through this whole thing, man. I just try to stay the hell away from everybody. Yeah.
Well, my mom is in the same boat. She had heart disease for years. She had quadruple bypass. I mean, when I worked in a health food store in 81, I used to bring her organic food and she would throw it out. And now she's fully plant-based for the last 3 years, organic. And she's pretty much gotten off all her medication. And it runs in the family, too, because my brother had it, my older brother, and he did the same thing. And he's healthy as hell now. So
you have a good relationship these days with your mom?
Yeah, I mean, right.
I mean, and let me just say also, for those that might, a lot of people out there are familiar with your story. I thought your book Evolution of a Cro-Magnon was really well written, and I've told you this. You really put some
6 years, man.
No, you really.
I wrote every word. There was no ghostwriter.
I feel it, bro. I felt it in
my writing teacher, Robert McKee.
Yep.
I started studying film before that, so I tried to be very cinematic with all my descriptions of
very good.
What we went through, and I didn't find out till I was 40 years old that I was conceived out of a rape. So from my father beating my mother down and raping her, and my mother chose not to terminate, the pregnancy, and so there was a lot of stuff I learned in the process of writing that book that brought me and my mom a lot closer.
That's great. That's great. And I know reading the book, and you grew up in foster homes, and you had a really challenging childhood, to say the least. I guess you're talking about your mom just made me wonder, like, okay, wow, many years later, you have a nice relationship with your mom. The past is in the past. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, see, that's the difference. My brother, I have a younger brother who's an addict.
Yeah.
I'm very open spoken about it, because I try to tell people, listen, if you're going to let the past define you, then you're going to make excuses. And he's always blaming her. You abandoned us, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's all your fault. We got to fucking pull our pants up, and in my case, be a fucking man. Don't try to pass the buck. We're responsible for what the decisions. He's a grown ass man now. I'm 58. Yeah. He's 56.
Yeah.
Many years ago, he made the decision to keep using and drinking, and he's been in comas. I mean, we jokingly refer to him as the $6 million man. The doctors can't even believe how he's still fucking alive. But you can't keep blaming, everything on your past. I did that for years too. That's why I fell victim to addiction from 88 to 90. I played the victim card. And, I talk about that a lot in my book, the PMA effect. Stop playing the victim,
Yeah.
Take responsibility for your life, for your actions. Work every single day to better yourself. I'm not in competition with anybody except myself from the day before. I want to be better than I was yesterday. That's, that should be the goal. Just like the first person with Down syndrome to ever finish an Ironman, this kid, Chris, his whole motto is 1% better. I want to be 1% better today. Imagine if every one of us tried to be 1% better than we were yesterday in our music, in our relationships, in our life, in our projects, whatever, our business. That's another thing. During this whole pandemic, I became a certified coach.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I hate to say life coach, because like
life coach. What's that?
What's
that? A life coach, bro?
Basically, I'm more of like a discipline coach. That's what I really push. Through discipline and action, we can achieve anything. If you're having blocks in your life, I'm going to be launching my website soon for that, taking clients and stuff. And, you know, there's only one way that I've been able to accomplish and still putting in work to get shit done. I got a TV series coming. I really can't let it out the bag, but it's really based in the Lower East Side with a pretty big producer. And, you know, but it's always about removing those stumbling blocks, you know, and being disciplined every day. Every day I got up an hour and a half early during the whole pandemic. I was up at 4:30.
Oh, you too?
Yeah, man.
You too, brother?
That's right. I saw you both making early ass posts.
You know
who gets up early. You're like,
I know, bro. There's a handful of us. I mean, I'm up at 5 o'clock every morning, but yeah. But you know what? I love what I do, and when you love what you do,
that's what I said. You know, not to keep pushing the PMA effect, but I said that in there. I said when you develop passion, you know, you have to become. People always take the word obsessed and put a negative connotation on it. But if you're not obsessed with what you're doing, you're going to quit. You have to be so obsessed that you can't wait for your fucking feet to touch the floor in the morning, you know, to get out of bed and get after it. Imagine having that type of drive and that type of discipline. And that's why I try to be around, you know, people that are very disciplined and the tier one motherfuckers that's out in the. I mean, you know, I watch what you do too, bro. You're always fucking got some shit going on. It's, you know, and these athletes that I'm around, and the David Goggins and the Rich Rolls and the, you know, all these people that you know, that are just out there grinding and making it happen. Like those people is who I look up to be like, all right.
And I think there's, you know, you and I were the same age, and there's a bunch of us that are still around and that are in the game and that are hustling hard. And I've told you this, you know, many times. I respect your hustle, man. You're always out there.
Always front. Fucking, you know, Roger, man, this is fucking unbelievable, man. The Godfathers of Hardcore movie, and and sick of it all, man. Come on, look how long those brothers been grinding and touring, and like, you know, it's impressive as hell, man. You know, and
I gotta let's move into some music, but I have a question. I got a personal question here. I know you were in the Navy for a bit. I know you had some trials and tribulations. You went AWOL. There was a lot of drama there, but I got a question. In your time, in any skills that you took away from being in the Navy, was there any? Did you bring anything? I know it was a tough experience.
Of course. Tell us about it. Let me explain something. First of all, I did 2 years in lockup. They had me on Thorazine because I was fighting every motherfucker when I was upstate. I was in Spofford. I came out of a very abusive foster home for 6 years. All kinds of shit done to me and my brother. Never went to any treatment or psychiatry or anything like that. And then I went on to the streets for 2 years. From 76, I started out on the streets to 78. Addicted to drugs, smoking dust, all this crazy shit happening to me. Then I get locked up. All right. And when they sent, after 3 months in Spofford, they sent me upstate. And when they did my psychological evaluation, they had me seeing a psychiatrist every fucking week and put me on Thorazine, which I got off of because it just made me like a zombie.
The worst, man. That's the worst.
And then I came out of that and I caught another case for selling possession of with intent to distribute. I went back to what I knew. Even though they took us to Rawway State Prison for scared straight, Fishkill Maximum Security Prison, tried to scare us straight. I went out into the world, no relationship with my mother, no skill set, no nothing. The only thing I knew was how to hustle and be a bad motherfucker on the streets. And that's what I took with me when I left lockup. and I caught a drug case. They said, you're going to do 4 years in lockup or you're going to have an opportunity to go into the military. Right?
That was an option then?
Yes, because 1980, all of the recruiting was down. And the thing was,
that doesn't exist anymore. It's not like you have a choice between going to jail or going into the.
No, but they did that a lot back in the day. If it wasn't a non-violent offense, and I was still underage when it happened. So the thing was, my mother was dating a Navy recruiter, and he got that shit hidden, so it didn't come up. So when I went into the Navy with my brother on the buddy program, and we went to boot camp January 3rd, 1980, we went to Fort Hamilton, and while we were waiting to get on the military hop flight to Great Lakes, we went and bought 5 bags of angel dust, and I went to boot camp high on angel dust. I'd never even been on a plane before. So the thing about when I was locked up, I really got into boxing. I got into sports. I got into weightlifting. I got into, being an athlete. You're going to use your time to better yourself, or, most of the people that I was locked up with went up north. They continued on with that. So when I went into the Navy, it was under the prerequisite that if any shit goes down, you're getting kicked out, and it was like basically parole. You're going to go back and have to deal with what you had to deal with.
And the Navy, of all things.
Yeah. So I went to boot camp, and then I shipped out to Norfolk, Virginia, and that's when.
That's a party town.
I was selling drugs. I had a drug business. I lived off base. I was the only punk rocker on the whole goddamn base in Norfolk. Ray B's came later. Ray B's came like when I was ready to leave the Navy. So in boot camp, I was very determined. They made me the PTO, the physical training officer. So I had to exercise the entire company. My boot camp company had to keep up with me. So, the discipline that I started to learn in boot camp, right? That 8 weeks that I spent in Great Lakes, it taught me a lot about myself, right? And being disciplined. And the company commanders, the 2 of them were just these 2 amazing guys. One of them was a CB. And, when I went to Norfolk, I started fucking up, because the past, if you don't deal with the demons of your past, they're always going to rear their head. That's just that's what happens.
The past comes back to haunt me.
Like an old fucking broken bone that didn't heal right, an old scar tissue. And when I got to Norfolk, Virginia, I was so lost and confused, and I started hanging out at the punk rock club down there, the Taj Mahal. I think
that was in Norfolk. The Taj Mahal was in Norfolk.
March 1980. The Teen Idols and the Untouchables. I just talked to Ian Kai about this, and he was there that night.
The Teen Idol. Well, he played bass in the Teen Idols.
And the thing was, in New York, I was going to Max's in '77 and CB's and hanging out, but it was all like that pogo-in shit and like. So these guys came down to the Taj Mahal, and I'm all punk rocked with the spiky hair, the leather jacket, and the whole shit. And I'm pogoing, and they're just fucking slam dancing the fuck out of everybody. They brought a whole crew down. I just talked to Ian Mackay, I don't know, about a month ago about the whole shit.
That original crew that they had was on point. That original crew,
they went
Henry and Ian and Ian's little brother Alec. That's the original American. That next to the Huntington Beach.
Listen, they went out to California and brought that fucking slam dancing and shit and stage diving back to the East Coast, and then
they brought that shit back from Jack Grisham and those guys, the Black Flag guys out there.
And then I started going up to DC on the weekends, and then the Bad Brains came and played at the Taj Mahal, which that was a life-changing event. And then I started going up to DC every single chance I could during the week, on the weekends, hanging out at shows. And I was also fucking up because my ship I was in a pre-com unit, which meant my ship was being built. So I had short duty. Then the ship got finished, and I started going to Jamaica, bringing back drugs, going to Florida, bringing back drugs. There was no search dogs. There was no customs. So it was very easy. And I started really, I never had a family in life. So I started being like, where's my tribe? And that's what hardcore really was. If you look at a lot of us that got involved in this movement, we come from fucked up families, from most of the part, from fucked up backgrounds. And we were looking to see where the fuck we fit in, where we belong. Where's my tribe? That's why when
it's community and culture, man. It's community and culture, and
the music was the center of it. Was the center of it all. Yep. And I started going back up to New York and hanging out, and then we would go up to, like, all of us would get in vans and go up to, like, New York and see Black Flag at Irving Plaza. And if anybody ever saw that Social History of the Mosh Pit documentary on MTV, they interviewed me and a bunch of other people. But when they interviewed the Beastie Boys, they said, when did the dancing get crazy in New York? And they said a bunch of dudes came up from DC, Black Flag show, which fucking John Belushi was at.
Yeah. And was that at the Peppermint Lounge?
No, that was at Irving Plaza.
Oh, Irving, right? Okay, yeah.
And I saw the circle jerks and the whole. But the thing was, Ian was like, "Yo, these dudes." I mean, it was Mike D, I think, or Adam Yout, the late Adam Yout, was like, "Yo, these guys were like jumping off the stage, boots first, into people's faces, and like just slam dancing the fuck out of everybody."
There it is, right there. Black Flag, Irving Plaza, right there.
Yeah. Boom. Oh, 81 it was. Okay.
Club 57, they used to call it.
Yeah. They called it, and they tried to shut Club 57 down, as a matter of fact. The neighborhood took out a petition. I talk about that on the walking tour. But that same month was the Clash at fucking Bonds, and I went to like 15 of the 17 shows. So, so the thing, what happened to me in the Navy was, I got set up and I sold drugs to an undercover Norfolk Police Department person, and I was going to do some time. I sold him Class A felony drugs, LSD and all kinds of shit, cocaine. So I chose to not do any more time, and I split. So the statute of limitations was up after 7 years on the drug sale stuff, but the warrant never goes away from the military. They could bring you back, 50 years later. So I had the second longest AWOL in Norfolk Naval Base history, and the scene did a whole benefit for me. And the thing was, my lawyer argued this guy should have never even been allowed into the Navy, like with his past. And what he went through, and the fact that he basically came out of lockup and was a destroyed person emotionally. And the fact that I also was a monk for 2 years, he's like, conscientious objector. So I ended up, despite what everybody else says that don't know the fucking deal, I got my discharge was honorable. Okay.
Well, you went back and did your time, right?
Well, I went back because I don't have to dwell on what happened, but I got snitched on, and they did a benefit for me, so they put me in the brig. And then when my lawyer argued the case, it actually was Chris Garver from the tattoo artist who put up the initial money while they waited for the Jimmy and all them did the benefit for me at Coney Island High. And I was in the brig, and then like once they realized, okay, we're not going to prosecute, they put me in TPU, Transient Personnel Unit. And then after like another 2 months, they said, all right, we're going to process you out. So and that's how that went down. And I ended up getting all of my benefits, and I didn't take them. I said, look, I didn't serve honorably. But they offered me all my medical benefits, everything. And I chose not to take it. And I said, hey, man, no harm, no foul. See, I'm out.
Let's move on a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to bring Sid the Kid on.
Sid
the Kid. What's happening, Sid?
What up, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on, John? How are you?
What's up, brother?
Are you ready to
You know what I miss? I miss seeing you riding around putting up flyers everywhere. He's like the only dude that still does that.
Well, hopefully
that's a lost art.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If stuff calms down within 2021, we can all start doing what we got to do. We got to hustle.
We just got to do what we got to do and say fuck everybody else.
Sid, are you ready to do album of the week?
Oh yeah, whenever you're ready.
Did you do your homework?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay, so John, we'll let Sid spin his wheels a little bit, then you and I'll take over. So here we go. Sid the Kid, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, album of the week.
Oh shit.
All right.
Sid. I got stories.
Sid, go ahead. You're on, Sid.
All righty, guys and gals. So obviously, if you don't know this fucking record, this is the album of the Bad Brains' first record. Was recorded on May 2nd, 1981 at 171A and was produced by the late, great Jerry Williams, rest in peace, and was mixed by Wayne Vicken and mastered by Stanley Moskowitz. Coincidentally enough, this was released quite a few months later, I believe, February 2nd of 82. This was an absolute game changer when it came to hardcore and punk rock in general. There's no argument about that. Now, the whole backstory, even of the recording itself, a lot of people have heard stories about 171A, but to kind of really shorten it up, think about a downstairs area that's 60 feet long. You got the stage on one side, and then you have an elevated sound booth on the other. This whole recording itself was on a 4-track. And I would think when I would hear this over and over again, I'm like, man, this is such a great production. This is like 16-track recording. No, 4 tracks. Jerry did it. Jerry knew what he was doing. And just the album itself, it just musically and lyrically, it just speaks to so many people. Positivity, wising up, speaking out, and, just speaking on what's on your mind. And this is one of those records. And also just one quick fact here, surprising some people don't know this, not even me. The reason why, and I had to go through my little digging to find out why this record was so fast compared to like Black Dots and the Omega Sessions. Because at that time, promoters weren't giving this band enough of a longer set. So they would just start playing the songs faster because they wanted to get every song just crammed into their set. And there you go.
All right. Well, good, Sid. Good homework. Let me say something real quick, John, before for me, this, I don't want, this was I don't want to say game changer, life changer, but when this cassette came out, this is back in the day when it went into the cassette player and it would play one side and then click over to the other side and then click over to the other side and then click. This didn't come out of the cassette player for months. We listened to this over and over and over again. There was nothing even in this universe when this thing came out. I remember right when it came out, we got it, and we were blown away by it. John, I know you have some real insight into this. You were there. Tell us about it.
Well, first of all, that artwork, if you see down at the bottom of the Capitol, it says MIR. Mir. That's Dave Parsons, who ran the Rampage record label in the basement of 171A. And he put out the first Beastie Boys, the Pollywog Stew.
Yep.
And
he ended up putting out Agnostic Front Victim.
Yeah, he put out a lot of stuff. And rest in peace, J.W. and Dave Parsons. Yep. But the original of this it came out in red, gold, and green cassettes, so you could get the colors of the fucking Rasta flag. So I had all 3. Now, 171 was bugged out because I got to live there when they were making that record and hang out with HR. I had HR reading fucking lyrics to me that he was writing for this record, and 171 was just such a magical place because everybody came and hung out there. It was like this community place, like Dave from Reagan Youth, just everything. And then the reason that the record sounded fidelity-wise, to me, Jerry Williams was the only person that captured the Bad Brains sound in a recording. And the reason he did was because he was their sound man on the road. And when we traveled and toured with the Bad Brains in 81, I was their roadie. He was the sound man. Alvin, who played drums in the original Blood Clot, was another roadie. And Jay got their sound. And I was there when they were recording. There he is, Mr. J.W. And Jay was a real mentor to me with getting into the health food and the raw foods. And
yeah, he was an original. He was
the original raw food item. Yeah. He even got the Bad Brains into eating better. I mean, this guy was a total sadhu, man, just like the most humble person. And they got me the job at the health food store, and J.W. would give you his last apple, man. Like, he was just such an amazing person. And yeah, the Subhumans at 171. So, I was going to the shows at 171A, and I think it was a Bad Brains show. I think it might have been this show right here with the Subhumans and some Puerto Ricans who had a big drug spot that, were smacking everybody around and pulling knives on people. So nobody stood up to them. So I fought them. I ended up getting stabbed in the shoulder. And, the Bad Brains, I wasn't allowed to come down there for a long time, for like months. And I just walked down there one day, and right when they surrounded me, Doc and Daryl came running out of 171A and were able to like squash the beef. So the Puerto Rican cats were like, yo, you made your bones, like nobody else stepped up. I fought those dudes with a chain. They tried to lock me out of the studio, the Beastie Boys, and then nobody would hang out with me because they put a KOS, which is kill on sight. That's what they said. We're going to kill that white boy. Nobody hung out with me except for one person, James Contra, for that band Virus, who was a fucking maniac.
Russian lunatic.
Everybody else was scared to hang out. Everybody else was scared to hang out with me because they said, that dude's going to get killed. You don't want to be around him. Anyway, that's how I ended up moving into the studio after that, and the Bad Brains taking me under their wing, and HR specifically, and being like a big brother to me. And then we went on the road with them. But the recording of that album, man, I would stay up. We would break night, as we used to say. Remember that term? Yo, we broke night.
We broke night.
Back in the day, when you stayed up all night till the sun came up, that's the term. Yo, we broke night.
In the 70s, it was a big deal.
Yes. So the thing was, I stayed up with HR, and then we would go to Tompkins Square Park and have food and sit around talking philosophy after they'd been recording all night and like talking to me about the songs. And
also back then, you didn't go to the other side of the park. You just stayed up in that one spot on Avenue A. You didn't go past the band shell and down there.
I did. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, but yeah, it was a fucking dangerous place. If you remember 171, A7 used to have a sign on the door that said out of town bands, remember where you are, to not go into that park, because out of town bands would come play at A7 and get fucking robbed. Like Tompkins Square Park was the band shell. I mean,
let me cut Sid. Let me cut you loose here. Good work. Talk about what you have going on later.
Oh yeah, guys. So coming up this Wednesday, I'm gonna have Jimmy G from Murphy's Law on my radio show. All the info's down there, bigxlr.com/SDK sound system. This is definitely the best way to end this year. Having Jimmy on is going to be
I love
amazing.
Jimmy, man.
Like, I put a lot of work into this show, guys and gals. So, if you have that time to tune in, it'll be 7 p.m. New York time. And of course, every show I have is archived within my profile. So if you miss it, You can check it out the next day or whatever, but it's going to be a fun freaking time. And as we speak, I've been working on it. I'm actually sending stuff to Jimmy and vice versa. We're still working on it, but it's going to be an amazing freaking show, guys.
Well, Sid, thank you for doing your homework. We appreciate it. You always bring something great to the
and
party.
bring the best out. As
talk
Adam
to you
Yauch
soon,
said,
Sid.
the best punk hardcore record of all time.
We'll talk to you soon, Sid.
I try. Thanks a lot, guys.
Later.
Hey, John. One more thing. That I want to mention here. I know this isn't a great picture, but I want to get back on JW a second and say that a lot of people don't know. Let me put this up. A lot of people don't know that when Jerry came up here, he played in this band, the Cigarettes. Right. And there he is there. And to me,
he was in the Cigarettes from North Carolina. He was in another band.
Right. He was in Purple
My
Jesus.
Sheriffs of Blue.
Purple Jesus. Right?
Purple Jesus.
So let's talk about this real quick. So you're in with JW and you're in with Alvin, and you guys are all roadies for the Bad Brains, and basically you formed really the first version of Blood Clot. Tell us about that.
Well, what happened was, we were the roadies of the Bad Brains, and they like kind of spoke in patois back then a little bit. They were like, "The blood clot, fix the blood clot, out on the blood clot," So we was the ones in. Yo, Hoya. Man, mad boy, motherfucker.
Oh, yo, here's one for you, yo.
Keith Burkhart, calls for alarm.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
All right. But
the gang's all here.
That's my dude, Keith, man. Hey,
man.
And Hoya, too. I got mad love for Hoya, man.
Hey, Monster, too. What's up, Monster?
Here we go.
Yep.
So we formed the band, and originally it was Papa Chubby was playing bass.
Yeah, that's
we went on,
no, was that
Teddy
Horowitz?
No, Teddy.
Yeah, Ted Horowitz, right?
Oh, I didn't know his last name. I knew
Ted
I
Horowitz.
He was Jewish, but
Come on, my Jewish brother Ted Horowitz.
Yeah, shalom. But yeah, so like when we went on the road, we grabbed the guitar player from the bass player from Crucial Truth.
Oh,
filled in on bass, and we opened up every night for the Bad Brains. And I wrote about it in my book, The Evolution of a Cro-Magnon, like the racism, like when we got below DC, like forget it. Florida, that whole run of fucking shows down there, it was crazy. But we would open, and Tommy Rat, there he is. We would open up every night for the Bad Brains, and you had a bunch of white guys up front, minus Alvin.
Alvin is a OG. Alvin, he did his time with the Bad Brains for years.
Oh,
it wasn't a Bad Brains show unless you saw Alvin
bugging the fuck out. I had to tell him in the beginning, I was roadieing with them before him. And when he came, he started like yoking up the kids coming on. I said, yo, you got to calm the fuck down, bro, because the crowd is going to turn on you.
Right.
You're going to get fucked up. Like, chill.
Alvin
I
was
love Alvin. He's a crazy motherfucker, man.
He was
I got love for Alvin. And, the thing was.
Whoa, is that right? Someone just, Jason from Warzone said, Alvin has a studio a few blocks from me in Hudson County. Is that right?
I'm not sure.
Wow.
I don't know. I saw him maybe 15 years ago down over here.
Yeah.
And he was like, he's a good dude, man. He's a soldier. He did a lot so he's the one who got us the van. The first van that they had was this Joey Miserable and the Worms. And it had a big fucking worm down the whole side of the fucking van.
That's Joey Miz. That's what's his name? That's God, he's still around, bro. He's
Yeah,
out in Rockaway.
I don't. It was Alvin's friend.
Simon. It's Simon.
I seen him in Rockaway Beach.
Simon, bro. Simon Rockaway Beach. He's still out there, dude.
I saw him when I was training and going out there. He'd be fucking playing the guitar.
He's an amazing guitar player. Amazing.
And he would be in Central Park a lot too, at the Meadow.
Yep.
And yeah, he's Simon Bar Sinister was.
That's right. Simon and the Bar Sinisters.
Yeah, Simon and the Bar Sinister. A lot of history, man.
Yeah,
but the tour was amazing, and you know, just like HR was. We would go running in the mornings and stuff, and like, and then like I really cleaned up my diet. Like we, you know, my whole ITAL kind of thing really hit it on that tour in early '81, and it was, you know, JW. We would all cook. Yep. And you know, and have these amazing meals. Like as much negativity, like in the one show, these like fucking racist bikers at this place, the Big Bad Wolf.
Where was that? In West Virginia?
That was in Raleigh, North Carolina. And
Raleigh.
So the original Cro-Mag started in '81 at 171A. The drummer was Dave Hahn, the Bad Brains manager, Harley on bass, me on vocals, and Dave Stein, not the lawyer Dave Stein, another Dave Stein on guitar. So the thing was, Dave Hahn, when he sent out the promo flyers for that tour, there was no picture of the Bad Brains. So nobody knew the Bad Brains were black. And we discovered that after soon as we got past DC, we walked into the Big Bad Wolf. And the bouncers at the door were bikers, and they were like, "What the fuck do y'all want?" And I was like, "Yo, what kind of way? Like, what the fuck?" I said, "We're the band," and they go, "You ain't the fucking band, man. The Bad Brains of the band." And they pointed to the poster, and I'm like, "No picture." And then Doc holds up his guitar, and it has a Bad Brain stick, and he goes, "Buddy, we're the Bad Brains." And he looks to the other guy and goes, "Jethro, the band is niggers." And that's like, yo, we was about to just fucking, and HR was like, nah. Like nobody talked to them dudes like that in front of me or in front of the crew. So HR got on stage and was like, you know him, fire burn this racist club, destroy it.
Burn down Babylon.
Now, let me step back a minute because the bouncers were such dicks. They were pouring drinks on the punk rockers, like 16-year-old punk rockers, mohawks, and like fucking with everybody. And the punks told me these guys fuck with every kid that comes to these shows. I said, y'all motherfuckers is going to get your revenge tonight. HR said that shit on stage. Yo, the club got smashed the fuck up, right? So then we knew we wasn't getting paid. So I'm like breaking up the drums in the middle of the dance floor. And we're trying to get the fuck out of there. The front door flies open and this big motherfucker comes in there with like 3 bikers on each side, all of them with baseball bats, tire irons. And the guy yells out, "Where's that nigger lead singer that wrecked my club?" I'm just saying word for word verbatim. This is what these motherfuckers said. I started handing out pieces of drum stands. I'm like, everybody grab something right now. We're going to fuck these dudes up. So I just stood out and I said, you want it, motherfuckers? Let's go. We ain't backing down. Let's do this. And they were like, oh, shit. So they ended up calling the cops on us and not wanting to fight us because we was ready to go.
I wouldn't want to scrap with HR back in the day.
I saw HR knock people off.
Bro, he was like a fire hydrant, bro.
Dude, unfucking believable energy, strength.
Yeah, like
you talk about chi.
Tight. He was tight.
And Earl's a Mack truck.
Silent
Daryl, big ass Daryl.
Silent waters, Earl. Silent waters run deep.
Yo. Don't get deeper than that.
Seriously.
So then what happened was the cops escorted us to the goddamn highway, said don't come back or you're going to jail. Fast forward, this was about 4 years ago. I was down in North Carolina in Raleigh. The Cro-Mags played a show. This dude comes up to me and goes, yo, I was one of those fucking kids at that Bad Brain show at the Big Bad Wolf. And after you did that shit, yo, the bouncers never fucked with us again.
Wow.
And you stood up to them. And I'll never forget that shit as long as I live. Like, to see somebody like, I don't know, 30-something years later come up and be like, yo, I was one of the kids that was at that show when you guys, like, stood up to the whole bouncers and
That's
you know, and then the shit just kept continuing, man, through Florida.
Florida in
Bad
1981.
Brain.
Woo!
Imagine back then. That's the land of the Ku Klux Klan, man.
Yep. Hey, let's take a break here. Let me shout out some of the sponsors, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about the Chromags, and I want to talk about being a bike messenger back in the day. And all right, we'll be right back.
All right.
What's happening, boys and girls? This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, the Texas Silver Rush, Your Core Hardcore fan page, The Organic Grill, which is a vegan restaurant located in the East Village of New York City at 123 First Avenue, featured in New York Magazine, the New York Times, and Veg News. The dishes have won numerous awards, including Best Veggie Burger. They make their own cheeses, sausages, and burger patties, and every dish on the menu can be made gluten-free for all you gluten-free motherfuckers. This year, they are celebrating their 20th anniversary, and they're all about having a great time while enjoying amazing, clean food. After 3 months of being closed, they're now open for deliveries. Get in touch with them and order some great food at www.theorganicgrill.com. And while we're at it, Your Core fan page. In the wake of the pandemic, Your Core Chris created Your Core fan page, utilizing lessons learned from over 20 years of being an educator and social worker. He decided to reach where hardcore punk and the surrounding genre of bands create not only their music, but their message. Their interviews are from a psychological perspective to harvest motivation. Harvest motivation. I love that. Personal insight and perspective. Please reach out to them on Facebook or Instagram if you have content to share. If you want to promote your band, Your Core fan page. Also, want to mention, of course, I'm sure you know, but listen, what makes this show tick, what makes us tick, what makes this show tick is the Patreon page. There's a Patreon page. That's how you can support this show. It is our community within a community. This is like PBS Channel 13. It's your help and your support is what makes the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live happen on a worldwide basis. There's a Patreon page there. I know there's a couple new people chiming in today. If you like what you're seeing, please support this show. I don't want to have to go and I like doing it like this. This is a community sponsored event, so to speak. Also, there's a PayPal page there. If Patreon, if the statistical density and conceptual continuity is too much for you to deal with, there is a PayPal page there. Don't be a lurker. Come on, support on Patreon. We come in from the cold, come in from the darkness, and come support the show. Just want to make sure everybody's, there you go. Now go to your parents' wallets and send $1. Remember that? That's the soupy sales pitch. Are you still upset with me, Johanna, for getting in touch with me 5 minutes before the show? This is so good I can't crack a joke. I hope everybody is okay out there. What else? You know what? While we're at it, I want to mention a couple of other shows coming up. Sunday, January 17th, from Terror, we got Mr. Scott Vogel coming on the show. This should be a banger. A lot of Terror fans out there are stoked on this. Also, coming up on Wednesday, January 20th, another New York hardcore OG artist, Sean Taggart, Agnostic Front, the Crumbsuckers, Jerky Boys, Cro-Mags, Whiplash, and Prong are coming on the show. So, also, while I have your attention, I want to announce a brand new show. You hear it here for if you're a patron on Patreon, you would know that this thing's coming up. So here's a new show just for you. Sunday, January 24th. My old friend, Igor Cavalera from Sepultura, Cavalera Conspiracy, Soul Wax, and Mix Hills coming on the show. Yo, this is going to be great. Igor's a fan of the show. We love this guy. Igor is a fantastic human being, so we're super excited about that. Want to shout out a couple of my patrons: Brian Ramsey, Keith, aka Cheetah Thunders on YouTube, Pavel Ola, Rick Bailey, Jason Bennett, and then also Joseph Shortino, Gina B. Thank you so much for your support, and Davor Gajovic, Lori Dawn. Yo, I want to shout Lori Dawn out and all the gals that are in the Women of the Pit on Facebook. Thank you, Lori, for sending me this cool stuff for the holidays. I appreciate it. Check out Women of the Pit on Facebook. Go check that out. Also, gotta shout out. Gotta shout out my man. Hold on, yo, Igor Cavalera. Come on now, huh? How about that? There you go. Everybody psyched on that, right? Yes. Yep. It's all yes. Igor's coming on the show. We are excited about that. Also, what else? I want to shout out my man, Brett Friedman, who lives next door, lives a little bit down the block. One more time, the Bad to the Bones dog bones that he has. Check it out. No, I'm not going to eat any more of these. I ate a bunch of them on the last show. I got to ask John about this. This is kind of crazy. Everything in here is organic, and there's nothing in here that I don't understand what the difference between this. It's all like, it's like a cracker. I ate a bunch of them on the last show. They were yummy. So that's, yeah, Brett the Bookie, exactly. Brett the Bookie lives next door, and he's got this side hustle. Brett the Bookie's side hustle, when he's not driving for Uber, is this Bad to the Bones. So check that out. I think I covered everything. Yo, you also know, listen, I got to mention this again. Coming up, the 100th show, Mr. Jamie Jasta from Hatebreed. Super psyched on that. We love Jamie. We're excited about the 100th show. Thank you, everyone, for supporting us. It's going to be great. All the shows are great. Shows are great because of you, honestly. You know, that's what's happening. I think I covered everything. I'll cover it. If not, I'll cover it on the next break. Listen, there is a super chat in the chat room. If you have a burning desire for a question, because a lot of them slip by me, we're going to be doing questions soon with John Joseph. If you have a burning desire, please, it's at $2 or $5 or whatever. If you do a super chat, it will definitely catch my eye. We'll definitely ask the question. Try to keep it, PG, so to speak. That said, let me clear the deck. Let's bring our guests back on. Bad to the bones. I'll see you later. Yep, you guys rule, Rick. Absolutely. Want to welcome everyone from around the world. Looks like we got a couple new people. Let's bring our guest on, Mr. John Joseph. What's happening, bro?
Chilling.
And he's back. So let's time is money here. You know what? Let's just jump around. You know what? Let's have a laugh. What the fuck is going on with, hold on, let me find this, because this was like, what? I gotta find this. Hold on. Here we go. What's happening with Wonder Woman, bro? Hold on.
Oh, you mean like all the people that weren't around in the 80s getting butthurt over? So Patty Jenkins, let me explain something. I'm going to explain it real quick. Patty Jenkins is an OG, the director. Right. She wrote and directed Monster. She did the first Wonder Woman. She
did music videos back. She did a Leeway video back in the day.
I'm the one that hooked her up with her first job ever. She did a Leeway video. She was down in DC and New York on the scene. Listen, I seen Patty. There was this, I'm going to tell you a story. And I told this story at the premiere of Monster, sitting next to Charlize Theron. She looks at me and goes, like, how do you know Patty? I was like, oh, Patty used to stage dive at my shows and fucking go crazy in the mosh pit. She's like, what? I said, oh, you don't know about Patty? Let me tell you a story about Patty. There was this bully named Prince. Prince was this 200-pound fucking black dude with dreads who picked on everybody. He started smacking Patty's dog in King Tut's Wawa hut.
Formerly known as the A7, now known as Niagara.
Right. So Patty said, I was there. Patty says, yo, leave my dog alone, motherfucker. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And he goes, fuck you, you white bitch, and smacks her dog. Patty picked up the beer mug and smashed the dude in the fucking face with it 3 times. Woo! Ripped his fucking face open. And then fast forward a couple years later, I'm out there and I see Prince, and somebody's like, yo, how'd you get that keloid scar? He's like, oh, man, this whole Puerto Rican gang jumped me. I said, motherfucker, it was 120-pound white girl with your ass. So anyway, Patty is old school, and Patty said, yo, I want to do some, I want to have some characters in the movie wear a shirt. So I hooked her up with the Bad Brains. I sent her a bunch of Cro-Mag stuff, the Age of Quarrel. And, you know, so she did some, because she's a hardcore chick. She's a punk hardcore chick. So she put this stuff in the movie. So everybody's losing their shit, having conniption. First of all, the Age of Quarrel was recorded in 1984. And the tapes were pressed up in 1984 and soon released after that. So whether it's Age of Quarrel with the nuclear explosion or whatever the fuck, it's a superhero movie about people that fly through the air and, you know, travel in time and, you know, got all these superpowers. It's a fucking, you know, relax, everybody. Calm the fuck down.
It's a fucking movie. It's hold on. I'm trying to get that picture back up. But
yeah,
it's a goddamn movie about a woman running around in her underwear with a lasso.
There you go.
It's a cartoon movie.
And let me just say,
it's not real, people. It's a cartoon.
And listen, Patty Jenkins, who dated Jimmy Gestapo, by the way, Jimmy from Patty went out with Jimmy for a little while. Like, Patty was fucking living on Avenue A when motherfuckers wouldn't even be allowed to come down to Avenue A. Like, Patty is a fucking OG. And she put herself through fucking film school waiting tables at Dojo. She wrote and directed Monster, which won Charlize Theron the Academy Award. If Patty didn't write the script, Charlize Theron don't get the Academy Award.
Right.
And the reason Aileen Wuornos met with all these other people to tell her life story, she said, all you people are fucking fake. She was on death row. When she met Patty, she said, you're the fucking chick that's going to do the movie. That's how real Patty was. And now you get all these fucking like Mama Lukes on the internet.
You know, it's like, you know, in 1984, you know, it wasn't, it's a comic book.
First of all, 90% of them weren't even fucking sperm in 1984. The ones talking all the shit.
And then the other thing was, I saw some about this that was in the movie. That was in the movie too. This whole bit. Oh, you know, that minor threat show in the film, the minor threat poster, that didn't really happen here and this and that.
Yeah.
It's a fucking comic book.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. It's like, yo, come on, man. Like, lighten the fuck up. Look, she did product placement for Bad Brains, Cro-Mags, Minor Threat. Like, fucking, who cares?
You know who cares?
And all these people about Commander Salamander. I used to go in there and shoplift from that store in Georgetown.
Oh, because what? Commander Salamander wasn't open back then? Is that what they're saying?
No, it was open. It was open. Like, you know, but she tried to duplicate as much of the real shit as she could.
Right.
And people don't know the history of Patty, so they want to talk shit and think she's some Hollywood chick. Yo, and you know what Charlize Theron told me after I told her that story? She said, now I get it, because the Hollywood producer who came on the set one day and started yelling at Patty and disrespecting her. And Patty read that motherfucker the riot act and went off on his ass. He could have crawled under the fucking stomach of a pregnant cockroach when she got done with him. And Charlize says, now I know where Patty got it from. I said, yo, Patty ain't no fucking joke. And Patty is so fucking down to earth.
That's a story of Lou.
Patty Jenkins hooked up Steve Perry of Journey with his last girlfriend that passed from cancer a few years ago. Listen, Patty, and to this day, I know a lot of motherfuckers that went to Hollywood and blew up. They won't even, I'm not going to mention no names. They act like they don't even fucking know you now. Patty Jenkins is always the most fucking down to earth. I'm friends with her husband, the writer, Sam Sheridan, their kid. She never comes to the city and not calls me. If there's an event, she hits you up. Like, she's the most down to earth fucking person. Despite all her huge success, it never went to her head.
And that's rare. And that's rare. And that's rare because we both know a lot of people go out to Hollywood and they try to keep pulling the I'm a New Yorker card.
Yeah.
They try to pull that New Yorker card. And I can't tell you how many people, oh yeah, like that's their connection with me. It's like, yo, you ain't a New Yorker. You've been living in Hollywood for 15, 20 years. I live in New York City.
You became Holly weirded, motherfucker.
Seriously, bro. Like, and we don't need to mention we don't need to mention names, but
yeah. But there's also a lot of
Ditto, but Ditto's not one of them.
Oh, Ditto is like yo, Ditto came to the Cro-Mag shows.
No, we love Ditto.
Like,
not Ditto. Not you, Ditto.
Nah, Ditto's the man. I love that motherfucker. What was his that hardcore band he was in? Was
Major Conflict.
I'm always like Massive Attack, Major Conflict.
Ditto was a hard rock back in the day, bro.
No, Ditto bounced at all these bars. Ditto bounced at Undersheen. I seen Ditto with the hands, and Ditto will fucking lift your. Ditto will have you staring at the top of your fucking toes.
Yeah, Ditto's no joke, and he's a lefty. Hey,
me too. Southpaw.
He's a southpaw. Hey, let's mix it up a little bit. Let me
talk about the bike messenger shit, right?
Yeah. Let's talk about. You were a bike messenger for 10 years, and that's a lost art. That's a lost art in this day and age. You know, back in the 70s and 80s, you know, being a bike messenger was a whole culture unto itself. It was an incredible community.
In New York, it was incredible.
I mean, I always thought back then, I was too young, that, you know, I wanted to do a documentary about the culture of being a bike messenger.
That would be a great documentary, man.
But it's done. I mean,
I worked with Nelson Vales when I started bike messenging, who turned around and went to the Olympics and won the silver medal for pursuit. Nelson Vales was a fucking bike messenger. Nelson Vales was a bike messenger at the same company as me. And
Doc was a bike messenger from the Bad Brains. Doc from the Bad
I just talked to Doc the other night. Doc had a messenger bag that was red, gold, and green. And I talked with Doc the other night for about an hour. Doc was a bike messenger too. You'd be surprised how many motherfuckers.
Doc, I remember, because I remember Doc was always working, man. He had a family to feed. He was always working.
Well, here's the other thing. See, I was AWOL, so the thing was, you can't use your social security number because that's how they catch you. If you use your social security number, that's how the government catches you. So with bike messengering, they gave you a check cashing card.
Right.
And I was like Edward Leon Forte or something. And that's the name I went by, and that would be on the card. And then you would go to their bank, and they would just cash your check for you and give you cash. And it was all under the table. And the thing was, I also worked for the Pope of Pot, Mickey, who they did a story on him. Clayton,
there's a documentary. He had the first delivery service.
1-800-WANT-POT. I worked for fucking Mickey. I got stories out the wazoo.
I remember when you worked for him.
Yeah, and the thing was, but before that, I was a bike messenger because it was the only job I could get where I didn't have to go on the books, you know? I did other shit too, like like there was a lot of renovations going on around the east side. So I got jobs with construction companies clearing out like rat infested basements and all of this shit. But when I left the temple, you know, I was a monk for 2 years, 82 to 84. And when I left, I went back to that job. So at the end of 83, and the thing was, I became a bike messenger again. I was living in the squat, 700 East 13th. I would get up, take an ice cold shower at the fire hydrant, and then all the Puerto Ricans and blacks and shit would be like, yo. And, you know, me and Harley lived in the apartment there. And then I would go out and message.
That was 13th between B and C?
No, that was 9th Street between C and D, 700 East 9th.
Got
I'm sorry, did I say 13th?
Yeah, you did. That's what confused me.
Yeah, I said 700 East 9th. And
that's the one that Roger was in too, right?
I'm not sure if he was there, but Stig was there. A bunch of people lived in there. And, you know, the thing was, I would bike messenger all fucking day long to pay. And, you know, I tell this story when I talk to clients about discipline and determination and going after your shit. I said, I lived in a burnt out building, no windows, no plumbing, took showers at the fire hydrant, got on my bike, messengered for 8 to 10 hours a day to pay for Cro-Mag rehearsals. And me and Paris paid for that first recording of Age of Quarrel in 84. Paris put up half the money and I put up half the money. And then Paris's father, right, had a pressing plant in Nashville. And he pressed up these tapes for us. So that was the original Age of Quarrel. That was done.
Let me just interject here that the original Age of Quarrel, of course, this was before Doug Holland joined as second guitar.
Yeah, Doug Holland.
This was just Paris, and there's a lot of people out there that love this. They say this is really the quintessential recording. This was really the Crow.
Before that, we also did a session in Don Fury's, and Mackie had those tapes of that. Like we recorded at Don Fury's on like Spring Street or whatever the fuck street that was in the basement over there.
Sure.
But this was done at J.W.'s
High Rise.
Right. J.W.'s brother recorded this for us.
Yep.
But that's determination. When you want something bad enough, you figure out how to make it happen. And that's where the bike messenger. And then I got into the crazy training from there because Nelson and them guys would be like, hey, you know, we do these park rides at night in the spring and summertime. So after you worked all day, you would go up and they would do a crit race, 4 laps in Central Park, all out. You're talking 25, 30 miles an hour, and you would do 4 laps, which, yeah, that's the basement of 171A.
No, that's Don Fury's.
Oh, Don Fury's, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So go on.
And the drummer played in like a booth, like a little drum booth and shit.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into like the racing and stuff like that, was because like at first I was just riding a girls 10 speed, and Nelson and them were like, yo, if you get a real bike, you could really be clocking some money. So I got a Nishiki Modulus, was my first real road bike. And then I just started improving from there, and I got into running and, you know, long distance running and swimming. And in 2012, I got the opportunity to put it all to the test. I always wanted to do an Ironman. And my trainer at the time, Ryan Mims, was like, yo, I can get us into the New York City Ironman, August 11, 2012. I said, let's do it. And that was the first one.
Was there any point? I've always known you as being in shape, being a bike messenger with the bike. Was there any point where you really weren't in shape? I mean, I know your eating habits weren't great early on.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. First of all, from 88 to 90, I was a crackhead, pillhead, but I was still so jacked up on fucking on crack and coke and everything else. I was doing like 300-400 push-ups a day, like like just being a maniac. Like, you know, you get high, and then, but in the 90s, I hurt my back really bad. I ripped a fucking muscle that connected into the psoas. It was the most painful thing.
Ooh.
And I ballooned up. AJ's always like, yo, you were like a deuce and a quarter. I was like, yo. He always likes to laugh. And I go, yo. So when I talk about being fat, I'm not fat shaming. I've been there. I had to come back. I was 205 pounds.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, that's when the Cro-Mags got back together for that 2000 shit and whatever, and we were playing out. So the gig we did at CB's got recorded, and I had no shirt on. And one day, remember when CBGB's record store was on St. Mark's?
What year was that? 2000?
2001, 2000.
Right.
Remember when CBGB's was on St. Mark's?
No.
Yo, CBGB's record store was on St. Mark's for a little while.
Okay.
I walked by and they had this like 5-foot screen in the window, and that part of the CBGB's documentary was on, and it was slow motion, and all the fat was like, you know how I do on stage. I'm like, and all the fat was just going like bloop, 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 bloop. I walked in, I said, Louise, never play that don't play that in the fucking window.
Good old Louise.
But I was laughing my ass off. But yo, I had to come back from that. And I was in this like relationship with this crazy chick who was like medicated and like, so it was just everything. I tell a funny story because I was DJing at Kate's joint, and everybody used to
Angelica's?
No, Kate's joint. Kate, who was married to Todd Youth, rest his soul. She opened up a vegan restaurant on.
Yeah, I thought that was Angelica's. No,
4th and B. So we would have parties in there, and I was DJing. I invited the comedian Brian Callens, a good friend. I said, "Yo, I'm spinning over here." We would all be taking like weed brownies. Hoya will tell you, and so all of a sudden somebody comes up. I had this light blue sweater on, and Brian comes up behind me, and I didn't see him, but he whispers in my ear, "Yo, did you see my friend John Joseph? I'm supposed to meet him here. You look like the Smurf version of him." And I'm like, "No." He's like, "What the fuck happened?" Because I was always in shape, and I was like, "Yeah, you know." But for the most part now, that was like fucking whatever, 20 years ago. So I watch what I eat. I'm already training for. I have Ironman. I just did Ironman Cozumel.
I saw the whole. I followed you in Hawaii.
Yeah,
and I guess that didn't turn out the way you hoped. But I loved watching you sort of walk us through it. That was great.
Well, Hawaii, yeah, I got Hawaii. There was a virus going around in the water, and I got that. But I just did Mexico, and I got Montezuma's revenge. Because we ate at this restaurant and it was the bad water. So I did a 109 on the swim, which ain't bad because the water was choppy. I think the first is 3 loops of the bike, 34 miles a loop. So the first 34 miles I did I think 118 or something, which is pretty respectable. And then the wheels came off after that. I started hitting the porta potties and shitting in the woods and throwing up.
I guess once in a situation like that, once it starts going south, that's it, man. You got to be 100% on your game.
That's where the mental. Oh shit! Best plant-based brownie baker. Thank you, Hoya. But that's where the mental game comes in because it's all mental. Because if I didn't have that mindset, most people would not have finished that fucking race. I couldn't keep any liquids down. I had no electrolytes in my body. I had to walk like half of the marathon. So Ironman, you swim 2.4 miles, you bike 112, and then you run a 26.2 mile marathon. Like I had to walk most of that fucking marathon, and my hands swelled up. I couldn't keep. Anytime I tried to drink water or take a gel, I would throw it up. And then the official came on the moped because I was walking at night. And it's demoralizing because you're like walking with all the heavy people and the old people. Like you're like out there with like the people who are trying to make the cutoff. And the official seen me like on my knees fucking puking my brains out. Ooh. And he's like, "You don't look good. You got to go to the medical tent." And I said, nah. Because if they take you to the medical tent and they check your blood pressure or whatever, they're going to fucking DNF you, which they're going to pull you out of the race and did not finish. And that happened to me in Florida. I got hypothermia. It was 38 degrees on the day of the fucking race, and I wasn't prepared. And, you know, the medical people were like, yo, that's it. It's a wrap. You have hypothermia. And I didn't want to quit, but I had to because fucking I'm not going to go to the hospital over the shit. But,
hey,
you know.
Let me ask you, you know, I know there's been a lot of trauma and a lot of drama and a lot of stuff back and forth through the years, but looking back all these years later, do you have are there any fond memories, any fond recollections of this era here? Is there anything that looking back that still resonates with you?
Yeah,
I mean, in a positive way.
Yeah, man, there was tons of fucking, you know, good times and crazy stories out there. And, you know, like, I mean, dude, we had Metallica coming to see us. Like, you know, it was getting to be, you know, some crazy shit. And, you know, people's attitudes changed. And, you know, that's what happens in music. You get all these egos and, I'm not going to talk. I don't speak on it that much. Like,
no,
whatever happened.
Do you remember this?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about touring with Motorhead and Megadeth.
So I'll tell you a funny story, so the Bad Brains, Slayer and Megadeth opened up for the Bad Brains at the New Music Seminar at the Ritz right before this tour.
And let me just chime in. That's when Dave Mustaine was wasted and drunk.
Yes.
I
got mad respect for Dave Mustaine, but Dave Mustaine at that point even admits it. He was an asshole.
Yep.
So the old Ritz, the headliner dressing room, the opener had to walk through it, you know, Webster Hall, to get to their dressing room. So Dave Mustaine walks in and all the Bad Brains are there with their kids and chilling out, being Rastafarians, reading the Bible. And Dave's like, I got to get some fucking pussy in this mother, you know, stuff. Like, and I'm like, I was like, yo, dude, like, chill, man. There's kids here. And Dave Mustaine goes, man, fuck you, man. Who the fuck are you, man? You're just a fucking roadie, right? Like, I didn't start saying, you know, I'm also the singer of the Cro-Mags and I'll fucking break your face, whatever. But I let it go. HR was like, so then when they came off stage, he walked into the Bad Brains dressing room, picked up the black bucket that the drinks go in with all the melted ice and threw it up in the air all over their kids.
What?
Yes. And all over the Bad Brains. I grabbed him by the fucking hair. I slammed his fucking head on the wall. And HR got in his face. And it was one of those moments you talk about HR and how fucking strong and powerful he is. HR, and I'll never forget it, word for word verbatim, said, you want to see violence? He goes, we'll show you violence that you've never seen in your life. And I was like, yo, say the word. I'm going to fucking beat the shit out of this dude. And HR goes, let him go, cut him loose.
Cut him loose.
Then our manager goes, yo, so what happened with the Motorhead shit and why we got
your manager or their manager was Anthony County.
Our manager.
Chris Williamson?
The way we got the Motorhead tour, which this is another thing. We were supposed to open up for Motorhead at the Ritz. Half the crowd was there to see us, right?
I was there to see you.
So Motorhead,
and you guys didn't fucking play.
Why? Because Lemmy and the boys were running around buying fucking drugs and getting high, and the roadies did this like 5-hour fucking sound check, and then they come up to us and go, yo, you guys are gonna have to go on after Motorhead. I said, what?
Fuck you.
Like, yo, nobody goes on after Motorhead. And Motorhead finished, lights came on.
I was there.
Yo, I went on to the main dance floor and I just started saying, fuck you, Lemmy. Get the fuck out here. You fucking dogged us in our fucking hometown. Yo. And then Lemmy came out and the Hells Angels were with him. And the Hells Angels were like, yo, say the word. We're going to fuck this dude up. And Lemmy was like, no. He's like, listen, mate, I said, yo, man, I've been at your first show in New York. I saw you at the fucking Palladium. Like, I'm fucking been a fan of your band since fucking day one, man. Like, how could you fucking do that to us? Those other dudes in the Cro-Mags were gonna let the shit go. I said, no fucking way. And Lemmy goes, I'm gonna make it up to you, right? I'm gonna make it up to you. And dig this. You know what he said to me when I calmed down? He goes, yo, Mike, I would have fucking done the same thing if somebody did that to me in my hometown. And then Lemmy, when the Orgasmatron record came out, Lemmy stayed true to his fucking word. We were both on Profile, and Lemmy gave us the opening slot. So Chris Williamson says, yo, you're going to open up for Motorhead and Megadeth. I'm like, Megadeth? So the first show was the Santa Monica Civic Center. We get out there, and Dave Mustaine, we walk into the fucking arena. Dave Mustaine's sitting on all the fucking, the guitar cases and the fucking all the cabinets and everything was still in the cases. And he smoked. He's like, yo, you guys are the Cro-Mags. You want to smoke some kind bud? I was like, fuck yeah. So we all go over there. And Harley was like, yo, before that, Harley and Doug were like, are you going to tell this dude? Like, I was like, nah, man.
That we almost beat his ass.
Don't say nothing, bro. But then we're sitting there and he's like, yeah, roll some up, right? So we're like rolling and he's like, he's looking at me. He's like, yo, you look familiar. Where do I know you from? I said, I never met you in my life. Dude. I don't know. And then we keep smoking. He's like, nah. Where did you go to school? Well, where did you go to high school? Like, where did you grow? Yeah. I said, bro, I'm East Coast.
Bro, let it go, bro.
Let it go. Meanwhile, the dudes in the Cro-Mags, they're all like, holy shit, like dying, right? He's like, no, I know I fucking know you, man. That's it. None of this bullshit. Where the fuck do I know you from? I said, Dave, I'm going to give you one fucking hint. And if you don't get it, I'm never telling you. I go, you remember this? Who the fuck are you, man? You're just a fucking roadie. And he was like, turned white. And he was like, holy shit. What? I was such an asshole. And we became really good friends after that. I got mad respect. Although he had the clash of the egos with Lemmy, and you don't do that to Lemmy.
No.
So they got kicked off the fucking tour.
Is that right?
Yeah, they got kicked off the tour after like 2 or 3 shows, I think it was. And I'm going to tell you another story about Lemmy on that tour. I forget who was the drum, Pete Gill or whatever was.
Yeah, Pete Gill from Saxon.
Right, with the fucking like wild hair, perm hair. Like
Pete Gill played drums for Motorhead for like a couple records.
Yeah, but this was his first tour.
Yeah.
So Doug Holland, we were playing, and I think it might have been that Kaiser Auditorium show that you just showed the flyer.
Mm-hmm.
Doug, that's it. That's in Oakland. Doug Holland sticks his head in the dressing room, and Pete Gill's the only one in there. And Doug says, hey, man, great fucking show, man. We've been following Motorhead since, Kaiser Auditorium was.
That's a big play. It's
sold out. Sold the
Henry Kaiser Convention Center, bro. That's
Dude, I was doing backflips off the top of the fucking PAs for these shows across like crazy shit. Harley jumping off the fucking top of the PA. But listen, Doug says to him, great show, we saw Filthy play. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we go that far back. And Pete Gill grabs Doug Holland by the throat. And he's like, don't you ever fucking come in the fucking headliner's dressing room without permission, or I'll rip your fucking throat out next time. Doug comes to our dressing room and says, yo, that motherfucker just grabbed me by the throat. Listen, I didn't get along with Paris back then. Most people didn't. But one thing you didn't do was fuck with anybody in our band, because then we're a family. And I had mad love for Doug. I walked to their dressing room. I fucking flung the door open. He's standing there. I said, motherfucker, I'm in your dressing room. I shove him back into the goddamn catering fucking table.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
like ready to pound him. And fucking Lemmy comes in. I said to him, I said, you ever fucking touch anybody in my fucking band again, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Lemmy comes in. He's like, oi, oi, oi. What the fuck's going on? Right? So I said, yo, Doug just said good show to this dude. And he grabbed Doug by the fucking throat. Lemmy got in Pete Gill's face.
Wow.
And said, let me fucking tell you something. The Cro-Mags, this is our family right here. They've been down with us since day one. If you ever fucking disrespect them again, you're going to be on the fucking next plane off this fucking tour.
Wow.
That dude was the nicest motherfucker to us. The rest, hey, you want any beer? Hey, you need this? Hey, you need that? Hey, I got an extra girl. Like, that
great,
motherfucker,
man.
Lemmy didn't give a shit, man. When Lemmy wanted to tell you something, Lemmy fucking told you. It didn't matter who the fuck you were.
Absolutely. Hey, let's do this. Let me take the last break here. Shout out some sponsors. Let's come back and take some questions,
All
okay?
right.
All right. What's happening, everybody around the world? This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. We are sponsored by Your Core Hardcore fan page, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, The Texas Silver Rush, The Organic Grill, and New York Hardcore Comics. New York Hardcore Comics opened back in 2013 when lifelong friends Debo the Pro and Lee Fairley combined their collections and obsessions for comic books, punk rock, toys and statues, Magic the Gathering, and all things. The store is located at 117 Main Street in lovely Dobbs Ferry, New York. If you want to support them during this pandemic, this one specifically, because God knows there's going to be a bunch more. If you want to support them during this pandemic, please contact them via email at newyorkhardcorecomics@gmail.com or any social media channel. That said, hope everybody's behaving themselves. This is a great show today. We have our old friend and New York Hardcore OG, John Joseph. And we're keeping it positive. We're not getting into any of the bullshit, and we're having a good time with it. And that's where it's at. It's the worldwide hardcore community. That's what we're doing here. I don't know about you, but I enjoy shows like this. Best pandemic ever. Where did I just see that? Wow. This is the best pandemic ever. Oh my God. That said, I think I touched on everything. Follow me on Instagram. All you new people out there. You got to follow me on Instagram so you can get the latest on the show, what's going on. Instagram at Stone Films NYC to get updates about the show. Also, New York Hardcore Chronicles Live merch. There is a merch line. There is a link underneath down there. Also, if you're watching this show in rerun, if you're not watching it live, there is a button right there. Subscribe to the Stone Films NYC YouTube page so you get alerts as to when the next shows are happening. We got a lot of great shows lined up. Lots of great shows. What else? I think I got everybody. I want to shout out Upstate Rick. Hope you're doing well, buddy. He has the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live Comments Crew page on Facebook. Go check that out. Once again, join Patreon. Don't be a Hatreon. That's what makes this whole thing work. I do work. I get the job done. There you go. Larry Kelly, what's up? You listen. We're doing super chats. You can't miss them. Put up a bucket. If you got a question, a burning desire for John, post it up. Do a super chat. And this way it catches my eye because a lot of them kind of go right past me. That said, I think we got everything covered. Let's do some questions. Let's have some fun with it. I'm going to bring a couple more people in. But Larry Kelly, you got a question? Put it on through. Let me clear the deck. What the heck? Woo, going to Florida tomorrow. Going to be with Arnie Stone for the next couple of weeks. And we're shooting the rest of my new film. So the next couple of shows you see, I will be live from Arnie Stone's kitchen in Florida. Oof. I like doing the shows here. I like doing the shows in New York. But yes, it is a Keeler show, and Igor is coming up. So let me clear the deck. What the heck? Let's get rid of all this stuff. All this stuff. Like George Carlin used to say, my stuff. Got to move my stuff from here to there. Bob Riley, what's up? Yeah. Let's see. Okay, here we go. John, we're bringing you back in. What's happening, brother?
You know what we didn't talk about?
Well, we don't. We got it. I'm getting. Hey.
Kumba.
Everybody's a director, huh? Where is my? Hold on, dude. We are going to talk about that, and I had a picture all teed up. Hold on, let me find it, and let's do a question, and then we'll get.
Yeah.
Here we go. This segues into it. Whatever happened to the original Blood Clot? Let's talk about what's happening with Blood Clot now when you reformed, and let's talk about what you're doing right now as I hunt around for that photo. Go ahead.
Well, the original Blood Clot was, JW. We were the roadies, and then everybody went and did their separate thing, and then I came back and rejoined the Cro-Mags and stuff like that, and then we picked it back up with Scott Roberts, Danny Schuler, Rick from 25 to Life, bass player. And
no, Rick, Rick Lopez from Marauder.
Oh yeah, not Rick to Life. Rick Lopez, right.
Rick Lopez from Marauder. Whoa.
That guy's in another universe. And so we did the Burn Babylon Burn record, and then Danny went back to play in Biohazard, and you start losing original members, especially somebody as integral as Danny Schuler. It just ain't the same band. So put that shit on the burner, and then I started hanging out with Todd Youth, and we wanted to do music again there. Todd Youth, Nick Oliveri, Joey Castillo, and so what happened was I was supposed to do the Super Frog. It's the Navy SEAL half Ironman in San Diego. So I injured my calf muscle. So when I went out to LA, I was like, let me see if this heals up, and then I'll go down and do the race. It didn't heal. So rather than letting a negative consume my life, I said, Todd, let's fucking get together and write some songs. We wrote the songs and then recorded the Blood Clot fucking demo, which we gave to Tal Ronan, who owns Crossroads. He passed it on to Brian Slagle, who owns Metal Blade Records, and he flipped the fuck out on it. And then Michael Alago.
How about that? Ever see that one? That's me.
Wow, I didn't see that one.
No one, it's never seen the light of day. That's me shooting you for the Michael Alago film.
Right.
That clip didn't make it in, but you're doing vocals for the Blood Clot record.
Yeah, there you go. And that was at Phil's studio
in Red Bank
in Jersey. But the thing was, and then Michael managed us and structured the deal and got us like an amazing record deal. The record we recorded Up in Arms. And
great sounding record, man.
Oh man, fucking
great sounding record,
dude. Zeus and Kyle, Zeus produced, Kyle engineered, and our first tour was opening up for Negative Approach, fucking killing it. And after the tour, Todd relapsed into drugs, man, and it cost him his life because like that fentanyl shit. You just got to get a little tiny bit of that, and especially coming off of being clean for so long, and then you get some dope with fentanyl in it. He died. He died from it, and then I just put the shit on hold, but I didn't want to stop doing the band, so I reached out to Tom Capone. And actually, it was Joey Castillo who said, hey, man, why don't we check out Tom Capone, man? And I was like, why the fuck didn't I think of that? So we went out. I rehearsed and wrote shit with Tom. Me and him flew out to L.A. and rehearsed with Joey and Nick. And they couldn't fucking believe, how good Tom was. They were fucking I did not expect that. Tom fucking killed it. And then we were planning all this shit. We had some gigs with Suicidal Tendencies in Canada, all this shit. And then the pandemic fucking hits. And that was it. And nobody could travel. And then I said, you know, let's keep writing here and try to get some New York people and record. And we started recording the album. So we got Darren.
Hey, let me interject real quick. Is that true? Was Nick Oliveri in the We Gotta Know video? Was he in that? Really?
Ah, so you see, when we played the
you know that is? That's your boy Cro-Mag Lou. That's the story of Lou.
Cro-Mag Lou. Nick Oliveri.
Crazy Lou, you call him.
He had long hair, and he runs in the arena and throws his fucking hands up.
That's him?
That's Nick Oliveri.
Oh, shit.
He's a fucking maniac. I love Nick. I love Joey still. But the thing was, they're trapped out there. I'm trapped here. I said, guys, I gotta work with who I can work with right now, and it just worked out. So Darren Morgenthaler he played on a Madball record. He played in
great drummer, man.
And he filled in for Mackie.
Yo, he killed it, bro.
He filled in for Mackie on the fucking on the Hatebreed tour.
We saw you here in New York at the Best Buy Theater. He killed it.
Yo, he's a fucking animal. And I was like,
we're not mad at that kid.
No, he played on a Madball record. He played in with Jimmy Williams. Come on, man, I'm blanking on the band.
Maximum Penalty.
Maximum Penalty. And just like I was on tour with him for a month, and I'm like, so easy to get along with, fucking just such a fucking great dude. Came every night and just fucking killed it every night.
Yep.
So, and then finally, it was Manny Carrero who played in Burn and Still Suit and Glassjaw.
And he's played with Tom before.
So they played together, so that's why Tom said, "Yo, let's check out Manny." And we did one rehearsal, and I was like, "That's the fucking dude."
Yep.
Like they opened up for Bad Brains, and the Bad Brains, Doc and Daryl, stood behind Manny's fucking amp. And when Manny finished, he said, "Yo," I turned around, and Doc and Daryl were like gave him the nod. That kid can play. So we went and recorded.
That's big when you get the nod from Daryl.
When you get the nod from Daryl, it's pretty fucking auspicious. So anyway, that's the lineup we're working with now. We just recorded 4 or 5 songs. We got a bunch more that we're getting after. We did we recorded just for fun a cover of How Low Can a Punk Get?
I heard all that stuff, man. It's great.
So listen, music's beautiful. It doesn't have to be all this bullshit involved in politics and this and that. You get together with good dudes, and we're gonna make another record. Our manager Sam is kind of searching, because we said like this, we went back to Metal Blade to Brian, and we're like, "Hey man, we're doing this thing." And he goes, "Look, all of our releases for 2020 got pushed back to 2021. This record wouldn't be able to come out till 2022."
Yeah.
And Sam was like, "Well, these guys don't want to wait that long." So they gave us a release. So, we're looking to get a label to put the shit out. And it's not even like the music business. It's just a promotional item at this time. Whenever there's tours again and whatever the fuck, who knows? But, it might have to be like what we did for Chris Garver, pull up in a box truck and just fucking play.
That was amazing. I should have played that at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was for his 50th birthday.
Yeah, that
and those guys were like, "Yo, we know 4 Cro-Mag songs. You want to come sing for Chris's birthday?" I was like,
awesome.
"Hell yeah."
That's awesome. All right, let's take a couple questions. Well, here's something from our friend Bob Riley. I mean, this is nice. If people don't know, I want them to. John took the time to come upstate to visit my brother Nicky when he was really sick. He knew how much the Cro-Mags meant to him, and John is an awesome stand-up guy. Love him.
Yeah, man, that was a tough one because Nick, we became really good friends. And then, the strength that he had, I actually dedicated an Ironman and wrote his name on my bib. I'm trying to find it now. I forget. I did Ironman Florida for Todd. Oh, it was Ironman Cozumel last year.
Mm-hmm.
I dedicated it to Nick. Nick Riley, amazing guy. And Bob Riley's a fucking legend in his own. Like,
we love Bob.
Yeah.
Here's a question from Paulie Porkchops, and I have a photo to go along with it. He's been asking us through the whole show. Any memories of the Lemoore last Thrash Bash on 5/3/91? It was the first time Lemoore Brooklyn closed. Cro-Mags reunion, Leeway, Biohazard, Typo Negative, White Zombie, and others played that night.
Another one of those gigs that
I would think
escaped me.
Yeah.
I remember before we went to Europe in '87 and James Hetfield, we headlined Lemoore and James Hetfield got in the mosh pit. People were like, yo, he was like slam dancing during our fucking show. And, Lemoore's was interesting because you got like, I remember I went to a Bad Brains show there with Harley and some metalheads, these like metalhead thug motherfuckers tried to jump me and him. And we fought like fucking 6 or 7 of these guys, just fucking beating them down.
I bet you that was probably '87. I think I remember.
Yeah, it was back. It was
'87.
Before the band broke up after that tour, so it had to be '85, '86, and these motherfucking clowns tried to jump us, and like it didn't end well for them.
Yeah, you know what? That reminds me of this. Hold on, let me see if I can find this. Oh man. I want to find those Bad Brains Christmas shows from 1982.
Oh yeah, '82. I was in the temple when those happened.
Okay. Here's one from Thomas Starkey. Playing with Mackie compared to Deluxe. Both have some hip hop swing to their style.
Yeah. I mean, it's a different thing. It's a different feel for the drum. Mackie's more, a little more finesse and in the pocket. And, Mackie comes from like a fusion background, like Bad Brains, Return to Forever. Mackie turned me on to like Mahavishnu and RTF, Return to Forever, and all those records and shit. Actually, I'm going to tell y'all something that y'all motherfuckers probably never even fucking heard. When I first wrote the lyrics to We Gotta Know, Mackie sent me a jazz fusion song, and it had this groove in this pocket. That's what I wrote We Gotta Know to.
Mm.
And then if you look at the way Mackie played We Gotta Know, I was able to just take those lyrics and put them right in that fucking song. But the feel for the lyrics in that whole song came from a fucking fusion song that Mackie has sent me.
Was that Return to Forever?
It might have been Phil Collins' Brand X.
Brand X. Brand X.
Yep, but it could. I don't quote me on that.
Here's one from.
I wrote the flow of those lyrics to a jazz fusion song, and then Danny Schuler's more of just a fucking, he's a gorilla. He's a gorilla. He's a fucking gorilla.
He's a gorilla. That
and
kid.
One of the first people to train with Henzo Gracie.
That's right.
And go to Brooklyn and box. Danny's a lethal motherfucker. Let me tell you.
It's one of my people. Sean Sullivan asks, greatest lesson learned from Prabhupada.
Glad we talked about that.
Well, it's never too late.
The greatest lesson learned from Prabhupada was, always try to improve yourself, remain in service to other people. Which Bhakti Yoga, that's what that means. It's the yoga of service to other people. So, you know, the greatest thing you could give to anybody is to pass on those books and that knowledge. And the greatest thing was that that's where the Age of Quarrel came from. When I left the temple, I injected the whole philosophical aspect back into the Cro-Mags. That's where I got the title, The Age of Quarrel, Kali Yuga. That came from all Prabhupada's teachings.
Uh-huh.
You know, Signs of the Times. We got to know all of these lyrics and the way, you know, It's the Limit used to be called Kill the Ayatollah. It was like, you know, we had to be on some real shit. We had to have the street plus the philosophy to go with it. And what I loved about Krishna consciousness was that the Bhagavad Gita was spoken on a battlefield of somebody facing death. And I faced death a lot in my life. So it resonated with me. Here's this dude, and he's about to go into battle against his own relatives because they were demoniac. Thus, the song "Crush the Demoniac," which
which you still sing live.
Well, because I wrote it.
Yeah,
I wrote it. I didn't get credit on the album, but I wrote it. I changed the verses back to the original verses, but the chorus and that whole shit I wrote. And you know, so that really resonated with me, that no matter what, we have to fight in life for the right cause. And even it could be you against the fucking army, just like what's going on now, to get the truth out there. You know, you got to stand in the face of adversity no matter what. And if you know you're right and you're on the right side, you fucking fight to the end to get that truth out there. And that's why when I read Bhagavad Gita as it is and all of this, and then Prabhupada's teachings and lived as a monk for just under 2 years, I was like, wow, man. Like, living it was a fucking trip, man. And, you know, some crazy shit was going on in the movement, too, I won't get into. But I'll tell you one thing. Woody Harrelson, the actor, read my book. And I met him at Candle Cafe West. Because the owners, Joy and Bart, said, Woody's back there. He wants to meet you. Like, so, because he knew I wrote Meat is for Pussies, right? And because he's vegan and all. And I had met him before with the magician who does all the crazy shit.
Oh, yeah. He hypnotized my ex-wife, David Blaine.
David Blaine knows me. I would see David Blaine at Angelica's. He'd be like, Blood Clot knows me when I used to be down here copping dope. So we hung out one time at this raw food spot on 10th Street. Me, Woody Harrelson, and him sat down. But then I seen him up there, and he goes, so what do you do? I go, you know, I wrote a few books. I sing with this band at the time, the Cro-Mags. He's like, the Cro-Mags? He goes, did you write this other book? And I was like, The Evolution of a Cro-Magnon. And he's like, holy shit. He said, somebody gave that book to me. The Hare Krishna stuff was the craziest shit I've ever read in my fucking life. That's all he said about it. And then I sent him a signed copy.
Wow. Hey, here's one from, where's Michelle? Here we go. From our friend Michelle. John, have you thought about doing a vegan plant-based cooking show, especially now that there are more options out there and more people are aware of the benefits? I giggle every time I see turmeric and its benefits ever since that Munchies show you did.
I think she's talking about maca, where I said maca for the caca. But, you know, I had an opportunity to do shows, and I'll tell you why I never had one, and it's because I would never sell out. They wanted me to do a show, and they're like, oh, we can't have meat and dairy. And I said, hell no. I'm not, I won't do a show where it's against my principles of what I do. But I have a YouTube cooking channel, The Hard Truth with John Joseph. I think there's like 12 or 13. Jeff Pliskin from Raise Fist Propaganda does all the camera work and does the editing. And and I'm able to do what I do. I got 2 new books coming out this year. One is a cookbook, and the other one is how to reverse every single fucking health issue, get off meds, how to set up your kitchen, A to Z, how to do plant-based diet the right way.
Okay.
So, you know, it was great to get, you know, I cooked for AARP. I did a whole segment with them to help the elderly. Hey, you know, here, man, add some vigor back to your lives, you know, like
put some vigor back in your trigger, right?
yeah. And I mean, I qualify because it's like 50 and over. I'm 58 now. So, I mean, you know.
Here's our resident historian, Chucky Brown from Crazy Eddie. It's his birthday. I want to wish him a happy birthday. He says, hey, can John speak on the 2 TV pilots he wrote in meeting with Vince Gilligan's agent, Howie Tannenbaum at ICM in LA?
Yes. All right. So what happened was I wrote this pilot, and it was about me and the dust trade. That's the case I got locked up for, but all this crazy shit happened. I got shot in the leg in Forest Park. We sold fucking dust. So I wrote this TV pilot, and at the time I was signed to ICM. Dan Kirshen was my agent for literary, and he goes, yo, I'm moving over to the TV film department in LA. Do you have anything you could show? So I said, yeah, I wrote this fucking pilot. So previously I sent the pilot to Patty Jenkins, right? And Patty goes, you need to have the cop aspect of this. This lends to a whole subplot. But you need the police. I said, well, I don't know any cops, right, that were around back then. So I'm this friend of mine who worked out at a 7-5, if anybody saw that documentary, right?
Yeah.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Right. So when this guy came out of this guy worked in the craziest precincts. His name is Bill. And I said, Bill, listen, man. Bill Hall, Sergeant Bill Hall. I said, Bill, because he was a Cro-Mag fan. One time our van broke down or fell through, and he rented a fucking van and drove us all over fucking Florida. Like, just a solid fucking dude, man. That's why when people are like, all cops are bastards, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, right.
Like, but the point was, I said, Bill, I need to find a cop that was around. He goes, all right, he had no luck. A year goes by, he says, yo, I'm in the fucking parking lot of Home Depot in Long Island or whatever, and this guy sees my 7-5 sweatshirt and goes, yo, are you on the job? So it was this guy, John Wildman Wild. He had the Angel Dust Task Force in New York City. And he was originally a homicide. I met with this guy in Long Island. He's a fucking legend. So he does all kinds of consulting for TV shows. So turns out he headed up the task force because all these crazy homicides were happening and they were all fucking connected to dust. So I added his story as the main protagonist of the whole fucking thing. The main character. I was like, yeah, what I went through is crazy. This guy's got stories for fucking days. So I gave the pilot to Dan Kirshen, who sent it to Howie Tannenbaum at ICM, who was Vince Gilligan's agent who did Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Dan Kirshen calls me up and goes, yo, they want to fucking meet you. They're bugging on this fucking pilot. Howie Tannenbaum. So I go out there, I meet with him. His assistant comes in first. He's like, I just want to tell you something. Howie don't flip out like this too much. And he goes, this is fucking special. He goes, you have a gift for writing street shit. And Howie comes in and he's just like, dude, what the fuck? He's like, this is an incredible fucking piece of art. He goes, you know how many scripts come across my desk every fucking day? And I get 2 pages and I throw it in the fucking reject pile. He's like, I read this whole fucking thing in one sit down and I wanted more.
That's rare.
So what happened was it was a period piece and all this shit. He's like, it's going to be a hard call, but here's the deal. If you move out to LA, I can do for you how Vince got up in the ranks. He wrote on the X-Files. He wrote for TV shows. Yeah. I can get you writing. I said, well, I'm not ready to move to California. So anyway, I got something special coming soon because I can't let the cat out of the bag, but he has a huge TV show right now. He's a friend of mine, and he hit me up about doing a show about the Lower East Side in the early 80s with the music, the crime. He pitched it. It got picked up, and then the pandemic hit. So we're just waiting. He just wrote me the other day, and he's like, I can't wait to get started on this in the new year. So we're going to be coming, and one of the main characters is going to be from the scene, because I'm going to be one of the principal writers, and it's going to be a real fucking story about what was going on in Alphabet City and the Lower East Side and the whole thing. So I just love writing. Like you said, we got to find our passion. This is what I love doing, man.
Writing is a great gift to have, man. Ask Ditto again.
I love Ditto.
Being a writer is when I come back in the next.
Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. Let's plug his fucking movie.
Put him on the map, yo.
And not only that, it gave Robert Downey Jr. his comeback because nobody would touch Robert Downey Jr. Right. The first person to give him a movie break was Ditto.
Yep.
He played Ditto when nobody would touch Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. played Ditto. Chaz Palminteri played his dad. Diane Weiss played his mother. And what's his name? Shia LaBeouf played one of his boys. And the other kid. What's the other kid? The who he did the fighter film with? Ryan. You know what I'm talking about? He did the next film with Ditto where he played like a street fighter kid.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I know. All right, hey,
somebody wants to. A few people want to say hello. Let me bring them on. First one would be this guy right here. What's up, bro?
Yo,
Jay, what up?
Yo, the baddest, craziest stage diving motherfucker ever, jumping out of balconies.
Yep.
Rat Bones.
You got anything for John, Rat Bones?
Yeah, I just want to really, we've known each other so long.
Yeah.
I've always been such a fan of yours too. And even back in the old days, a lot of people forget how like rough and rugged this shit really was, And I'll just never forget, seeing it from a different angle. Cro-Mags were one of the most violent. I'll never forget the first time I seen you guys in New York. It was like a L'Amour show, and I had just come from Detroit. I had my mohawk hidden under my bandana because I knew like skinheads would beat up punks, and it was real crazy and segregated back then. And the band started, and I was right near the front, and I just remember this skinhead like reached over and like tipped off my bandana, and it was like a pack of dogs just jumped me. I got jumped, and then some kid I knew from City Garden, some skinhead kid was like, yo, come sit up. They had that balcony. There was like a seating area, like bleachers set up on the side. And I went up there and watched, and I'll never forget. And I've seen a lot of shows in Detroit. I had already seen some crazy shit. I saw some good punk shit happening already.
Oh, Detroit was crazy, man.
I'll never forget seeing about 100 skins just take over 300, like 3,000 people. And there was that dance floor in there. And that pit opened up to that dance floor square. Pits weren't round. They would be on the floor where the dance floor was. And you weren't allowed to walk on there. If you weren't already registered official, you got cleaned up and put back in the regular crowd. So, you were a beacon in my life for many years. Our stories are very similar. In 1977, I was only 10 years old. I came from a big family. I was the one that got put into a boys' home. The same way. That started a lot of turmoil.
Like I said, we found our tribe. Like, a lot of us come from bad family situations, alcoholics, broken families, and we were always looking, because that's the nature of people. We wanna come together,
Well, I just want to
say, how about
You know, we came out of a hard spot in life, and we joke about it. We call, oh, yeah, this and that. You know, I was in the darkest days of my life, and when the throes of the punk scene were going, those were some of my darkest times. And I still showed out for my friends and my family that I was connected to. We gave it all up. I was like an accent to it. I felt like I was a part of it. And I still feel a major camaraderie with everyone. And it's just, you know, it's just
you don't get that. You don't get that in other music scenes, man. What like if somebody gets cancer or some shit goes down, look what we did for Doc, man. $25,000. Drew, you put that shit together with Cousin Joe. Yeah. We raised $25,000 fucking cash in a park, and then more online. But for Doc to know when he had his whole medical thing go down with his stroke. And Doc cried, man, when we handed him that bag of money. Doc cried. Yeah. And one girl came up and said, she gave $50 at the table. And she said to me, I want to tell you a story. When I was on the streets, I was a runaway, like 13 years old. And Doc came up to me outside of A7 and said, did you eat today? And she said, no, I haven't eaten since yesterday. And Doc put $10 in my hand. Now I'm back to pay it forward, and she donated $50.
That's awesome.
You don't get what you get. Everybody sticking together and helping each other out. It's the worldwide hardcore community. That's why I don't even give a fuck about all the negative people that want to talk shit and do whatever. It's about the love and the way each person, like when something goes down, you know, we've been losing people. There you go. Mosh from Germany just fucking Mosh front worldwide. Mosh, what's up in Berlin? But you don't get this kind of camaraderie and family ties and everybody helping each other out. Like there is no other fucking music scene on the planet that does what the hardcore scene, New York hardcore in particular,
absolutely.
Would be there for everybody because like, yo, the guys like AF, Roger, and all these people, and Vinny, look how long everybody's been around. And it's like, and still we'll get together and do benefits for people and raise money to help people going through shit for surgeries or, you know, or if a band's fucking gear gets stolen, people just rally together to help each other. You don't.
Hey, we did it in the park 3 years in a row. We did the Doc thing. Then we did and then we did the Jimmy thing. So we went 3 for 3 before.
And look at the love everybody showed Jimmy G. You know how many times Jimmy G did benefits for people?
Yep.
And then when he had his medical shit going down, everybody fucking turned around and helped him out. Darren Morgenthaler, that's the drummer for Blood Clot. Just fucking
Yep.
You know.
Hey, let's bring on. Let me keep it moving here. Hey, Steven,
I love you.
Steven, hey, John, how you doing?
John? Hey, what's up? I know you.
There you do.
You got anything for John, Steven?
I do. Actually, you know, a couple of things. One thing just occurred to me. How great it is that you're here today because pretty much December 29th, this week, every year the Cro-Mags usually play the New York right around this time.
Between Christmas and New Year's, we would play every year.
And I just think it's great that we got you in, and we got you in before the year ended. And I mean, I wish this episode could go on another 2 hours. I mean, it's so good. And you know, I was thinking because I'm a big Joe Rogan fan. I listen to him all the time. He mentions your name every other episode. My boy John Joseph in New York sent me this. He talks about you so much on that show.
Well, you know what? Joe is. Listen, we don't agree on the diet shit, obvious. I mean, although, you know, out of respect, you know, he eats animals that he kills, whatever the fuck. That's not my thing. But Joe is a fucking amazing person, man. And we've become, ever since I did his podcast, I've become like such good friends with him. We go back and forth, text messaging and the whole thing. He's just, he's a stand-up fucking no bullshit dude, man. And my episode with him is 1152. So like, Joe,
it's a great one. It really is.
Yeah, and I got massive amount of respect for Joe. I heard about him in the 80s from Brian Callen, was like, yo, my friend Joe Rogan kicks like a fucking mule. And like, this guy's a martial arts enthusiast, expert. Like, he's the real deal. And he has guests from all perspectives. Like, even if you don't, he'll have you on. He's giving props to so many people in so many different areas of life and turned so many people on to people like David Goggins. And he had Rich Roll on. He had fucking, his interview with Alex Berenson. I suggest everybody go on there and watch.
I just listened to that. The new one, right? About?
Okay.
I just listened to that.
Alex Berenson, who used to work for the Times and quit the Times because they started controlling every fucking story out there. So yeah, listen to the latest podcast with Alex Berenson, and he just had my man on there, the musician from that lives down in Austin. What's his name? The guitar, Gary Clark Jr. Fucking like he hooked. And I'll tell you, when I did his podcast, he fucking flew me out first class. Like, I don't give a fuck about that, but paid put me up in a hotel, gave me tickets, ringside seats to the UFC, had me come on the podcast. And we've been friends. We've been friends since, man. He's an outstanding human being, a great father, and he's no bullshit. And that's why I give him fucking respect. He stands by and lives what he talks.
I want to bring someone else on from one of our sponsors from down in Texas. He's a big fan. What's up, Joe? How you doing?
What's going on, my brother Drew? How are you guys doing?
Good. You got anything for John Joseph?
Yeah, I do. First of all, thanks for all the word that you're putting out there. Your show's been really inspirational, following you on YouTube a lot. But I'll tell you, I was diagnosed with cancer about 3 years ago, and I started moving into that vegan lifestyle. My doctors are like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Your blood work is going back to normal.
Yeah.
Even my thyroid medication, 300 micrograms a day, I'm down to under 100 micrograms a day. Wow. So all I'm simply here to say, I'm here to say thank you for being such a loud proponent of it. I know it's not for everybody. But and then spiritually, from a spiritual standpoint, it's another big balance for me. So I asked you as a favor just to come on and meet you for a second and thank you and let you know it's real, man. I'm looking normal again.
It's mindset and diet, whatever you do to better yourself spiritually. I mean, I meditate, I do all that stuff, but the thing is, that's what I'm talking about in this new book I got coming out. I released the photo, but it's all about stories of people that beat cancer. From Rocks Off said, hey, my friend's got 3 kids. He's a chef. He has inoperable brain tumor. They're not giving him any hope at all. They said the chemo won't work. Yo, I met with this dude and we talked for hours. I told him exactly what to do. Eliminate toxic everything in your house, the cleaning chemicals, the stuff you're putting on your skin. Eat a whole food, organic, plant-based diet. Get rid of the pesticides. Yo, he just ran a half fucking marathon last year and they just did his blood work again. He's cancer-free.
Amen.
So awesome. You got to realize something. We're putting out, and I just made this post and I said this, and this is not talking, I don't get into the vaccine shit. I don't get into any of that. I said we have to take responsibility for our own health and well-being, not entrust it to an industry who profits in the trillions by our illness.
Yep.
So,
well,
remember,
two more things. By being smart, I know you got to be educated. So when you turned me on to fenugreek, the other day, I went out, got fenugreek, added that in. And by the way, we're opening a new store in Kauai. So if you want to train for the Ironman sometime, come to Kauai,
dude.
hang out at my house and train.
I'm there, bro. Just send me a message. I'm hoping to get back to
I want to
Kona.
go too.
Come on.
You got to get Drew in a race, man. But, you know, I always say this. A patient cured is a customer lost. So remember that. And John D. Rockefeller was the one who changed the system of medicine to what it is today that relies on pharmaceuticals. I posted that on Facebook. People got to know the history. Before he changed all the medical textbooks where plants used to heal people of diseases, he took all of that out and labeled it as quackery. So plants heal, man.
Yep.
Plants fucking heal the body, become alkaline, don't eat processed food. And I'm so proud of you, man. I don't know if you got kids or whatever, but imagine if you're not there for your loved ones, man.
Yep.
You know, and it's all about us taking responsibility for what the fuck we're doing and living life to the fullest, you know?
Well, you know, I lost my dad at 58 to a second heart attack. All my grandmothers and grandmothers, all there on Mott Street in Vinny's building, they all lived to 90 to 100.
Hey, John, by the way, Joe is Vinny Stigma's cousin.
Ho! Goomba!
Goomba.
But he's Texas. He's a Texas guy.
I
But
know you like your fucking Bajols and Manicottis.
285 Mott Street, Lower East Side crew.
No, I love that, dude. I love Mott Street.
Yep. Hey,
I'll drop you a message online, bro.
Yo, you know what? In Mean Streets, right? What do you say? I hate this fucking festival.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Joseph, thanks for stopping by, man.
Hey, Joe, I love you. Keep doing lots of green juice and keep that health going.
I'll hook up with you. And Drew, thank you for the opportunity. Guys, it was good to see you all. Happy New Year.
Thank you for being a sponsor, dude.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, brother.
Rat Bones, man. Rat Bones. Anything? Hold on. I'm spinning my wheels here. There you go. Woo! It's getting late. I got to pack. I'm on a flight soon. Hey, Rat Bones, anything for John on the way out? And
just thanks for being a big brother. Spiritually, philosophy-wise, you've had a big impact in my life.
Why don't you talk about your toy business, man?
No, man. Today's about you, my man. We got you today. We got that for everything.
Listen, I made an exception and brought him on because you were on. Sunday's not his day. But
I love Rat Bones.
Yo, you kept it real with me, man, when I was out there. You know,
I told you because I was there.
Instead of giving me a few dollars in the morning, you'd go take my ass all banged out and get me a wheatgrass drink.
That's right. Clean that ass out, motherfucker.
Doing good now.
Oh, I used to say that too. I would be up for fucking 5 days on crack and be like, yo, let's get some wheatgrass juice.
All right, Rat Bones, we'll talk to you later.
Been great, man. We'll talk to you guys
I love you, Rat.
Steven, anything on the way out?
John, just wanted to say thank you. They can't say enough.
Thank you for always taking some of the best fucking photos.
Oh,
You would always. This guy was always so respectful. You mind if I shoot a couple of photos? And then you get, he would always be hidden so perfectly. That's the sign of a great photographer. You don't know they're there, and then they get the shot. That's Steven Messina.
Oh, thank you so much. It means the world.
True. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm speaking the truth. And any other band will say that too. You were always respectful. I hated when motherfuckers would be standing there and you're playing and they got their cell phone light camera on in your fucking face and they're filming the whole show and they didn't even say there's an old school respect. If you showed up with a camcorder back in the day and tried to film a band and you didn't ask, you would get your ass kicked and your camera taken. You always asked, you mind if I take some pictures, right? Am I right?
Absolutely.
You hit me up in an email and be like, hey, man. I go,
is it cool if I shoot the band?
In fact, I can remember when you played the Paramount, I think it was with Glassjaw about 2 years ago. And I had taken some shots I was from the side and everything, and I sent you a couple, and you said, "Oh, you should have reached out before. I would have put you in a better spot." Because it was, and you know what? You've always been a gentleman, and you gave, can't even tell you what the band, what Age of Quarrel and everything you've done.
Stop moving your head.
It's heavy. You try carrying this thing around all
There's a lot
day.
of knowledge.
He loves to drag the mic around. It's like his
Knowledge is heavy.
Heavy as the head, but you know what? You are just you're one of the good ones, man, and just keep doing everything that you're doing.
And listen, it's the whole community. This isn't the ego. Henry always said that. Henry Rollins, when they interviewed him, he goes, he might be like a year older than me, but we remember when the fans were way back and the rock fans. I saw Zeppelin at the Garden in 7, and you worship them from the distance. And Henry said, I remember being at a Bad Brain show. HR jumped off the fucking stage, knocked me on the ground, screamed like a fucking madman over me. And I said to myself, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. That's hardcore. There's no egos. There's no the motherfuckers with the bad egos and like being dicks to everybody. You ain't going to last in this genre of music because everybody's down to earth, and that's what it's all about. I see Craig, me and Craig, sick of it all. He played in Chronicles for a while. We joke around and have fucking jokes and like just everybody. I see Jimmy, and like he's like, "Yo, where's the corn, boss?" Like
the corn. Wow, I haven't heard that in a minute, bro. Yeah. The corn.
So like it's about, there's so many good people in this scene, and it was just like I said, to come up out of the background I came out of, and then to be able to make a family out of the worldwide hardcore. It's the best family anybody could ever wish for,
Absolutely.
So, and it made me toe the line, because when you're full of shit, motherfuckers are going to tell you you're full of shit, and I thank the people that told me I was full of shit. There was a time right before the Chromax broke up in 87 where I was doing bumps of coke, and like, I was fucking up too. And people were like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're supposed to be all into higher consciousness and like that whole shit. But I was hanging around with the wrong people. And then in full-blown addiction, once I left the band in 88, that was it. 2 years.
Hey, Steven,
yes.
We'll talk to you soon, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely, John. Have a great new year.
Hey, Happy New Year.
I'll see you in 2021 for sure.
Yes, sir.
Woo! Wow. Well, that was great, man.
Yeah.
We could,
we could talk another 2 hours, dude. It's crazy.
I'll bring you back. It'll be the return of John Joseph. Listen,
I just want to plug Blood Clot one more time.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We're doing something special. This new record, we gave it to the manager, and he was like, "Yo, you guys are picking up right where you left off with Up in Arms," and I've been writing with Tom, and it's just so great. We all have our difficulties, man. Whatever the fuck we're going through right now, we gotta push through and try to improve ourselves in this upcoming year. And as a musician for 40 years now, it's what I do, and I'm happy to be working with Tom and Darren and Manny, and we're going to put out a kick-ass record this year, and get ready for that shit. And then, if we got to play box shows in trucks, that's what we're going to do.
Right on, brother. Right on. Oh, my dad was watching the show. My dad,
your uncle. Your fucking uncle. I didn't even know he was your uncle. I saw him on the boardwalk in Rockaway, and I was like, I gotta talk to this guy.
Hard, right?
It turns out he got the big chops from the 70s over here.
Hard.
and he's a
They
hard
grew-
motherfucker.
They grew up in the They grew up in the
I
Israel
know.
Orphanage Asylum on Houston Street. Yo, they,
Yeah.
they grew up in that. My dad and my uncle grew up in that orphanage there, and my dad didn't even know that he had a brother until they introduced this kid to him with the same last
That's
name.
a movie, bro.
Yeah.
That's a fucking movie.
Yep.
Your father and your uncle are fucking incredible. And
Yep.
I heard the story because you told me.
Yep.
And your father's film stuff and just fucking unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Like these guys, that's who I look to as mentors.
Yeah.
Coming from something like that and being so successful because they just kept going at it nonstop and never fucking quit. That's why the last words I say in the evolution of a fucking Cro-Magnon, never give up.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you, man.
Thank you.
You're always welcome here. I only hope that you can come back soon. It was a great show.
Anytime, man. When
you
hit me up next year, and thank you for the show. Thank you for the Michael Alago documentary. Who the fuck is that guy? Yep. Unbelievable. And then you did the hardcore
Chronicles.
Yep. Right. The documentary, which I went to the screening there on 23rd Street, which was great. Every fucking jabroni from the scene was there yelling shit out.
It was a
great night.
That was a great night.
Yeah.
Hey,
and congratulations, because you know what, dude? You never fucking stop working, and that's why the success comes. You don't quit.
And you know where I got that work ethic from? My father.
That's right. That's right. Look at that. They set the examples, man.
And you know what? Also, just to throw in the mix, my dad was a street kid. He grew up in the Bronx. He was a street kid. He went into the Army, and when he was in the Army, he learned a couple of basic skills. And he said the Army saved his life.
You know, Prabhupada said, if you're confused in life and you have nowhere to go, you should join the Army.
That 100%.
Because, it's not about that you're going to go overseas and kill somebody. It's that you're going to get discipline. You're going to learn respect. You're going to stop being a fucking loudmouth punk, because you don't do that. I've seen the military turn some people all the way the fuck around, man.
Yep.
And I have to say, even though my military career didn't manifest into anything, I took gifts out of that. That I carry with me to this day.
Yeah.
Everything, man. Even how to make hospital corners on a bed. Attention to detail. That's what they forced in you. Attention to detail.
That's what I was getting at kind of when I asked you earlier in the show, like, what was your takeaway? Because there's always these, even in these situations, there's always a takeaway that you could turn into in a positive aspect.
Yeah.
Always.
I mean, those months that I spent going to boot camp and then in Norfolk, and I learned how to tie knots, or bowling on a bike. Here's a great example. When our van broke down, because they put us in the Kendick plumbing van, I wrote about it in the book, and these hippies stopped. We didn't have any towing line. I cut the seat belts out of their truck and our van, tied it together with a bowline, and then square knotted the two lines together, and they pulled us through the desert. Guess where I learned how to make that square knots and bowlines? In the fucking Navy. That's Navy know-how. It's not just a job. It was an adventure.
That's great, man. Hey, I'll talk to you too, brother. I love you. Take care.
What you're doing, man. Your show rocks.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
All right. Peace.
Hey, it's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Core Hardcore fan page. I want to thank everybody who was tuning in today for John Joseph. It was an incredible show. Really, really great show. And I'm really fortunate to be doing something I love doing, and I'm doing it because of your support. So thank you. Just a reminder that coming up this Wednesday, we have Randy Bly from Lamb of God on the show. That is our next guest and our next exciting show. That is this Wednesday. We will see you then. Thank you all. Until then, do good things. And good things will come to you.